Hey there, friends. You're on another episode of the Spin-Off Show. Got a really fun guest on this one. He's my good friend. We know each other through college. We didn't actually go to school together, but he graduated a bit before me, but I know him through going to the University of Illinois. He's been on the Jock and Nerd podcast before, back on episode 39, where we broke down trailers. His name is Christoper Sotello. And on this episode, we get into his career at Google. He now currently works for Google out in San Francisco. So we get into a little bit of that. We get into my trip to Coachella, the arts and music festival out in Indio, California. We get into why I went to Coachella, me hanging out with celebs, all that fun stuff. So we dive into that. I don't hang out with celebs, I'm kidding. After that, we talk about Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 1. We are spoiling stuff, so just want to let people know, if you haven't watched Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 1, we spoil the shit out of it. The reason we talk about this is actually I just finished watching that episode an hour and a half before we started recording this. So Chris was the first guy I could start talking to about this, and you're damn right I'm going to talk to Chris Sotello about this because he likes Game of Thrones as well. Get into Game of Thrones, Avengers Endgame, get into that. Get into discussing the personality types of each of these characters and our predictions for Endgame and Game of Thrones. Then we dive into a lot of personality test stuff. Chris gets pretty deep on the Enneagram personality tests. He wants me to let you guys know, though, he is not an expert in this, but we definitely talk about Enneagram tests, love languages, heart motives, Myers-Briggs tests. I thought this was a really interesting episode to record. I was really looking forward to doing this, and I'm pretty sure it turned out really well. This is my good friend, Christoper Sotello. Let's check it out. This is the Jock Spin-Off Show. Chris, what's up, man? How's it going?
What's good, homie?
We've been trying to set this up for a bit.
Yeah, it's been a bit of coordination, but we did it.
We did it.
We out here, fam.
Google's keeping you busy out there, huh?
Dude, yes, it is. It's busy for sure.
So what's your role at Google?
Yeah, so I'm the lead video producer for the central communications and internal communications team.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically what that means is I handle all of the video work and I guess visual production for like internal communications. So we've got about 100,000 employees at Google. And yeah, it's crazy. So when I started, there was like 65,000 employees, and that was a lot to me. But now we're at 100,000, and that's insane. And that's like over the course of, I'm on my 4th year now here. But what that means is I do, like this internal, one of my things is I do this internal news show. Mm-hmm. That's basically like a 5-minute, news show, that runs down some of the cool things that are going on at Google, announcements, etc. So I write, produce, edit, shoot, and I'm in this show, right? So it goes out to our 100,000 employees, and that's how we do some of our more entertaining video segments is that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I also do like interviews with execs and top leaders and anything that needs to get communicated to certain product areas, because it's like Google's divided up into different product areas, right? Then I'll film them, and then we'll release it to those teams. Yeah.
Damn. So how does it feel now to work for the man, the AI, the thing that runs the world? I don't even know what is it the man? Is it the man? Is it the artificial intelligence that'll take over? Is it the syndicate? The corporation? What is this?
It's the Google. It's the Googs. I just call it the Googs. I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. No, it's cool, man. Like I feel very blessed and fortunate to have this job. Our job in particular, the team that I sit on, we sit so close to, the top level leads. I'm like maybe 3 people removed from our CEO. So the kind of access that my team in particular has to all these people, it's not like the type of access that anyone else really gets at Google. So sometimes I forget, I honest to God forget, that I know a lot of things that people don't know, Mm-hmm. Jon Snow knows nothing. He knows a lot now.
He knows a little bit.
He knows some things now, but now, I know a lot of things. And so I'm always like kind of catching myself like, wait a minute, is that public knowledge yet? Or is this, cause we're on a cycle and, there are a lot of top secret things that are being worked on and developed that I can't say. And so I'm always checking myself to make sure that I'm not spilling the beans. But yeah, so like, for instance, I think Gmail just did a refresh and there's this big announcement about it. I'm like, dude, I had that like 6 months ago. And then I go, oh shoot, it's out just now. Okay, great. Cause they beta test with us, and things like that. Yeah.
Wow. How does it feel to like have to, things, but you can't openly discuss them, with anybody? Can you even discuss it with family, or is that like
there are some things that I can discuss with family, but they have to be mentioned in the media for, they have to be mentioned as public knowledge first, right? I can't give any insider knowledge or information about things that are being worked on. It's just against company policy to do so. But you know what? If I was going to get a corporate job, Google would be the job to get as a creative.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, like our culture is really, Google's culture is, it's wild, man. It's creative. It's, people shoot for the stars at this company. There's a lot of brilliant people doing amazing things. And I'm super fortunate to see all of that, going on. I think that's one of the things, Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful, right? That's what we stand by, and that's kind of that's our mission statement. And what that means essentially is that it's not just like, search terms at your fingertips. What that means is that we're providing like internet for people in third world countries, or, providing access and opportunity to people with special needs that, they might not otherwise have the same experience that, other people have in this world. So Google's doing a lot of great things, and I get to be at the forefront of seeing those things happen. So it's a great privilege, I see.
Awesome. And just so that I know where you're at, but just so that anyone that's listening knows, you're in San Fran?
I am in San Francisco. That's right.
Is that the headquarters of Google?
Yeah. So the headquarters of Google is in Silicon Valley, which is about 38 to 40 miles south of San Francisco. So it's in Mountain View. But there's several offices in San Francisco, and Google in Mountain View, aka where Silicon Valley is situated. It's a campus. It's like college. So I can talk about that.
Talk about that. So I've heard things about this, but
what have you heard? I just want to. I'll confirm or I will deny if these things are true or not, and then I'll go on and talk.
Well, I don't even. It's like limited things, but I've heard. Do they take care of your transportation out there?
Yeah. If you didn't want to drive, you wouldn't have to drive, because there are Google buses that pick you up to and from certain locations around the city. So I live in San Francisco. With no traffic, it is like a 50 minute drive, but there's always traffic in the Bay Area, right? Except on the weekends. And so that comes out to about like an hour 15 to an hour and a half maybe on the road. And so you can hop on the Google shuttle and it'll take you from, a spot that around the city all the way down to Mountain View and back, right? So there is that. You wouldn't have to drive if you didn't want to. That's true.
That is true. Okay. That's all I've heard. That's all I've heard.
So
what else is
one of the craziest things is, and Tony, when you come through the Bay Area, I'm happy to give you a tour, man.
Oh,
and,
awesome.
Google Meal is on me. So, one of the things that is really funny is that, I'll be walking through the office and then we'll see, you remember walking through the dorm and having those cork boards and then seeing like advertisements for different clubs and organizations?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So Google has clubs and organizations.
Oh,
you can join a choir. There's a BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu if you want. There's like singing clubs, there's a cappella groups. There is a Google orchestra. People who have played instruments in their lives. They gather together on their free time and they practice, and then they perform in the courtyard in front of everybody. In fact, on May 4th, aka May the 4th for us Star Wars fans out there, the Google Orchestra goes out to the courtyard and they gather together and they play the John Williams Star Wars suite, and it's awesome. Real nerdy things like that, man. There's all sorts of crazy clubs and organizations that you can join. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, that legit reminds me of college.
Oh, and then I'm in the Filipino group. Yeah, dude, there is a Filipino Googler. It's called FGN, which is Filipino Googler Network, right?
Yeah.
And so it is what it is. We gather together. There's just a karaoke night, we had like a Jollibee get together.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me so much because the Bay Area just has a ton of Filipinos.
Dude, there's Pinoys everywhere, man. And that was one of the big, one of the pleasant reverse culture shocks was seeing like all of us like densely populating an area. You know what I mean? In Chicago, being born and raised in Chicago, growing up through the, Filipino immigrant family, like I'm around Filipinos because of our network, right? But this is different. Like there's this city called Daly City. Shout out to the Daly City heads. If you want to go to a brown town, that's where it's at. Man, go to this one mall called Saramonte Mall. But my wife and I have nicknamed it Brown Mall. Like when we want to get our Pinoy fix, we're like, let's go to Brown Mall. And you walk around and then you just hear like people speaking Tagalog at Target, like there's all these Filipinos gathered at Starbucks and they're like, they're like titas and titos and lolos and lolas, grandmas and grandpas. They're like old and they're just like congregating. They're everywhere, man. It's really wild.
That's crazy. Seeing as like, so I can tell the listener that doesn't know that we know each other. We both went to U of I, but you weren't in this. You graduated when?
When did I graduate?
University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. U of I for us.
Graduated in 2005, I believe,
2005. So we never were in school together. I didn't start up till 2006, 2007.
Right.
But you were always like this like legend, myth? I don't even know how to describe how I knew of you, other than people that knew you would always talk very admirably about you.
That's kind.
Yeah, they would always talk about you in this kind of reverence. It was like, wait, who is this guy?
I appreciate that.
And then you would always come around for different things.
Yeah.
You were living down there, right?
Yeah. So I was living and working down in Champaign as a teacher at the time. This is preceding my, video production days.
Sure.
But yeah. So my wife and I, we stuck around and, we were working in the community and still very much plugged into PSA, which is the Filipino Student Association at the U of I. And I would, I would MC these big events, and whether they be fashion shows or conferences where all of the Filipino Americans gather together on campus, and that would be what I would do, But yeah, like it was really cool I think that was one of the coolest things to be able to connect with everyone, despite like not going to school together. It was still really awesome to be like able to create avenues for a relationship with you all. I thought that was dope. That
was awesome. I mean, we wouldn't have met otherwise, right?
That's true. This is true.
I mean, so you go from that where when I went down to U of I was told this, but if I wasn't told that there was a Philippine Student Association, I'd be like, no way. There's absolutely no chance that there's a Philippine Student Association.
And it's vibrant.
It is vibrant. But you get down there and it's vibrant, but then when you get out of that, we're very much a minority amongst a lot of Caucasian people. And then you go from that to now you've found this other home in San Francisco where you can easily access Pinoys and Pinoys.
Yeah, dude. And it's really cool though. Like I think,
and you don't know all of them.
No, and I don't. But I feel like I do. Like I think my parents came to visit one time, and then my dad felt just compelled to talk to every Filipino. I was like, Dad, you don't know all these people. Just take it back a notch, But he was just being himself, just walking around, saying what's up to everybody. Because it is culture shocking in the best way, because you just feel like you see yourself everywhere,
Right.
And that's not. And like I said, like with San Francisco as a city is a 7x7, so it's 49 square miles. It's like a hamlet, right? Like back in the day when it first became it wasn't even a proper city, but it's just so dense, right? It's a densely populated city. And so in a weird way, I heard this from one of my friends who's from Chicago who moved out here as well. he was telling us that it's a lot like Champaign-Urbana, where both you and I went to school, and that, you know, you could run into somebody across town and that wouldn't be abnormal, right? I see people that like I'm just kind of acquaintances with, or even my friends. I see them at like in stores, randomly run into each other. It feels
really,
yeah. It's kind of wild like that.
That doesn't happen in Chicago.
No, in Chicago it's so sprawling, right?
Right.
But yeah. So you guys are in Chicago though. You guys are going through another season of winter. What's going on, man?
Actually, that's funny you mentioned that. So apparently it snowed here on Sunday. So we're recording this Tuesday night, April 16th. It snowed here Sunday. We got 5 inches. Luckily, I was in Indio, California for Coachella. So I missed all of that.
That's right.
And what even brought that to mind was the fact that you were talking about how densely populated San Francisco is. There's a ton of Filipinos in LA, but LA is so freaking spread out that I don't think you're going to run into people you know in LA either as much as you would in San Francisco. But yeah, I was just at Coachella for the past, I was in California for the past 5 days. Coachella's a 3-day festival. I spent one night in LA, so I'm actually kind of beat up. I'm pretty
man,
beat
you
up
must be. I bet you're tired, man. I was meaning to ask you, like, so I'm a little crowd averse.
Yes.
Unless I will make an exception if I have reserved seating. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like I can go to the movies, no problem. I'm talking about like concert level.
Yep.
You know, totally like I need a chair, man.
Totally
Otherwise,
understand.
like it freaks me out.
Totally understand.
So what's Coachella like in that sense? You don't have reserved seating. You just crowd around, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I've done a lot of festivals now. Coachella was always on the list to be one of the ones I would go to, and I finally got to cross that off this year. So Coachella's 2 weekends. Weekend 1, weekend 2. Weekend 1 is the one that I went to just this past weekend. That's the bigger weekend. That's the one that gets all the press coverage, all the celebs, the models, the quote unquote influencers are all out there.
My favorite word, not
right. We were joking around the entire weekend about we basically, if you said the word influencer, you had to take a shot because it's such a ridiculous thing now,
dude.
But so Coachella, it's out in the middle of the desert, 25 miles maybe from Palm Springs. And it's this sprawling polo ground field with probably 6 or 7 different stages, different art installations. But yeah, I mean, unless you are like VIP, there's nowhere really to sit unless you just plop yourself on the grass.
Yeah.
And there's 100,000 people there. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty, if you don't like crowds, it's probably not going to be for you. The cool thing about Coachella is there's always like space if you want to kind of just like hang in the back. You don't have to be like in the middle, and I'm never in the middle. I'm always either in the back or on the side. I like having my space.
Yeah.
But one of my coworkers texted me this while I was there, and it absolutely rang true. He's like, someone tweeted out or put on Instagram or Twitter, Coachella is basically the influencer Olympics, and 100% true. Because when you get there, literally everyone looks really good. Like more like
beautiful people,
like better than any festival I've been to. And I've been to like EDC, Lollapalooza. I've been to a few. So the best looking crowd I've ever seen. Everyone's trying to look good. So everyone's
they came to flex, man.
They came to flex. Like people are wearing, I mean, it's like 90 degrees out and they're wearing black jeans. I'm like, come on, that's a little ridiculous, but hey, whatever. Like everyone's trying to look good. And then everyone during the daytime is getting in front of an art installation or a ride or a stage, and they're taking a million photos. Of course. So you don't, and the thing is I don't recognize these influencers or I don't follow too many models on Instagram. And I don't follow any many influencers. So unless you're like an A-list celeb or an artist that I know, I'm not recognizing you. So I was walking past all these people going, that could be somebody, but I have no freaking clue. So I'm just going to keep walking because I'm here to enjoy some music.
No, for sure, man. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that, like, I think I saw a few friends post, what is it? They posted some photos with some, like, YouTube stars, and I'm like, who are you? Who are you? Who are you even? I don't even know who this person is, And, like, How do you spot them in a crowd? I'd be like, they look just like that other person that was walking that way. How can you tell?
I got a friend that was there, that can spot, like, influencers and YouTube stars and models out of nowhere, as if she's looking for them. And I'm just like, how do you even know who these people are? Like, for me, like, man. unless you're like some artist that I really admire, or an actor or an actress that's, someone I've seen a few times in movies, or maybe some like model that is above and beyond anything else. Everyone else was just people to me, and that wasn't what I was there for. I liked being around it, and I liked to experience it, but I wasn't in admiration of everybody. It was right. One of those things where everyone was looking so good, and I don't mean to say this like as if, oh man, like I was completely desensitized to it, because it was still a little overwhelming, but you are kind of a little desensitized to it when everyone looks the same.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, for me, it was a lot of fun. But it was a very, very unique experience. More unique than any festival I've been to.
So what do you like about festivals? I was curious about that. Like, for someone like me who is like festival averse and like crowd scared, I just want to understand the experience, or like, what is the draw? I'm always so curious about it.
Sure. So, I mean, one of the big draws for me is just the music. So,
of course.
You go to a concert, for instance, Ariana Grande was at Coachella this year. I paid $400.
She performed with NSYNC.
Right. So
and Justin Timberlake.
Yeah. So I was a little disappointed in that, but Ariana Grande was there. I'm not the biggest Ariana Grande fan, but let's say you wanted to go and see her in concert. I paid about $420 for Coachella, the 3-day fest. Then you got to do flight and all that stuff, but that's ancillary. Let's look at just the fest itself. You pay that. If you see Ariana Grande on her own, it's probably going to cost you at least $150, I would say.
I see.
Maybe more.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting access to hundreds of artists for that price. So, I mean, the value add is very, very high there. I mean, in terms of being able to see a ton of artists at one price rather than having to piece these out. I got to go see my Ariana Grande concert in December, and then I got to see Childish Gambino in August. Instead of spreading that all out, you can jam in as much music as you want in 3 days. So that's the first appeal for me.
Mm-hmm.
The second appeal, I mean, I'm not a big, I don't sit in the middle. I don't like to be in the pit, but I do there is something to enjoying something like that, not only with a bunch of your friends, but with everyone that's in the same sort of mindset. So when you go to these stages, all these stages have different artists. So when you go to a certain stage, for instance, if you go to the Sahara tent, which was mostly like hip hop and EDM, you're going to get a crowd that is there for that artist. And when everyone, for me, when everyone's enjoying live music at the same time, it's almost kind of like a symbiotic relationship, not only between you and the artist, but you and the people around you. And that is really fulfilling for me. I mean, there is a lot of studies that live music is basically like a drug. It rewires your brain for that moment that you're there. And to have that experience with thousands of other people, for me, is very, very fulfilling.
Oh, that's cool, man.
And then the third and fourth things, the third thing is I always go to these things with a group. I've always had a group of 6 to 10 to 12 people that travel with me to these things. So experiencing this weekend with, and all these people were from U of I.
Oh,
yeah. So all these, experiencing this with a group of friends that I've known for over 10 years is just, one of those things where we all did this together.
Sure.
And we were all in a house together. We rented an awesome house with a pool. We traveled together. We went to the fest together. So that having that experience with friends like that is also really fun. And then fourth and not least is the fact that these festivals do tend to draw an attractive crowd, and I like to be around that stuff.
I got you. Okay. All right, I get it now. Yeah, it's cool.
But if you're crowd averse, definitely.
Yeah, man. I just can't.
Maybe get that VIP pass or something.
Yeah. I have a coworker that went to Coachella last year, and he's the same way. Like he hates crowds, but he was like, he had this pass that allowed him in the beer garden that he could still people watch, but listen to the music, right? Where he was just like right there, but not like in the mix.
Yep.
And so he had super FOMO this year and was just like streaming it on YouTube. But I remember he's like, yeah, I'm going to go. And I'm like, I asked him how it was when he came back. He's like, well, because I had these like VIP passes. It was cool.
Like, yeah. If you have the VIP pass, or even like if you go in the beer gardens, it's a lot more chill. You're not in the middle.
Sure.
Those are cool. The only real things that suck about Coachella, if you're kind of a peasant like I am, is just leaving, getting in and getting out.
Oh, was that a nightmare? That
takes forever. The last night we were probably sitting in the parking lot for at least an hour before we even moved, maybe 20 feet. Yeah, that was rough. Man. That's rough. But other than that, I always enjoy festivals, and at 31 now, I don't know how much longer I'm going to do these. So I always cherish the fact that I can still go and not have. I don't have any kids or anything, so I don't have a ton of responsibility yet to anyone else. Yeah, a little more freedom.
I can't imagine the amount of selfies taken during that time.
So many. So many.
Do people still use, are selfie sticks still a thing? People still using those? Or are they just taking selfies?
No, I think they're, at this point, it was one of those things where we would line up in a group and someone would just notice, hey, do you want us to take your picture? If you take a picture of us, we'll take a picture of you. It's one of like trade things.
I see.
Or they would, like there wasn't a ton of, like my friend bought his selfie stick, but other than that, all I saw were people, one knee on the ground, someone posed, taking a million pictures.
Did anyone have the Google Pixel as a phone?
I don't think so.
Dude, all right. So the Google Pixel.
Oh, you're going to sell me on this?
Yeah, I'm going to sell you on it, yeah. So I actually have two phones, and because I've been an iPhone user. Okay, so this is going to sound like I'm bastardizing Google to those people who are like Android like loyalists. I'm so sorry, or like iPhone loyalists. I'm sorry to you as well.
You're stuck in between because you work for Google and you've done an iPhone, yeah.
Yeah, so I've got an iPhone as my personal phone, and then I've got a Google Pixel 3 as my work phone. And I decided to not, because you can, one of the perks at work is they'll give you like a phone and you can, if you're using it for work, they'll pay for it,
Sure.
The plan or whatever. I keep it separate because I like being able to not have my work phone on me during the weekends. So anyways, the Google Pixel 3 has it's got a front-facing selfie camera, but it's got a front-facing super wide selfie camera. Mm-hmm. So if you've never experienced it, I encourage you pop into Verizon or Best Buy or something and just get on that selfie mode, and then you just slide your thumb over to the ultra wide, and it's mind blowing because you could fit everybody in this photo, Mm-hmm. But the selfie game on the Google Pixel 3 is mad strong, and I gotta say the camera is super superior to the iPhone. I gotta say it. It is. It's just amazing. Yeah. And to that note, also, I was thinking about with selfies. It reminded me of the fact that we just saw the picture of the black hole, right?
Yeah.
And that was they said that was 5 petabytes of data on half a ton of hard drives to get for all those telescopes to get that. And then I don't know if you saw that comparison, but they said that it's all of the selfies that 40,000 people will take in their lifetime. That's how much data. And I'm like, oh man, the fact that we're using selfies as a measurement, that's pretty sad.
Yeah, that's pretty sad. I gotta say,
pretty sad.
Me personally, I've never been the type to take a ton of selfies.
Yeah,
I'm always the type to forget to take pictures at an event.
You got the friend in your crew that'll take the photos, though. Right?
I have a ton of friends that'll do that. So luckily, I have that. But I'm always the type that might record some video, but I always forget to take photos. I get so lost in experiencing it live.
That's great though, man.
That is great.
I think that's awesome. I think more people need to do that, to be honest with you. And that
there needs to be a healthy balance though, because it is fun to look back at the pictures.
That's true. So I was going to say, my wife encourages me to she's like, you just got to be in this moment. And then we'll be looking back. She's like, oh, I'm so glad you took those photos. I'm like, remember when you were getting mad at me about it though? We have these to look back on. So I am, for our Filipino Googler network, I am known as I got pegged to be the historian. I showed up with a camera one time to my first ever event, and it was like a Kamayan event where you eat with your hands, and it was all of the food is laid out of banana leaves, and I showed up with the camera, and they're like, "Hey, this is our new historian." I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'm that guy,"
I got one more thing on that. The iPhone versus Google or Android. So part of the reason why I've stuck with the iPhone, and this is a very small reason, but anecdotally, I was with my friends over the weekend, right? We're all sitting around. And we go, okay, we're all taking these photos. Let's start sharing these photos with each other. We all are iPhone, right?
Yeah.
And then we got the one friend that goes, do any of you guys use Google Photos? And we're all looking at her like, no.
Because you guys are all airdropping it to each other, right?
We're all just airdropping it into a big file on the iPhone, where then you can access it through the cloud and then take whatever you want.
Man, though, but Google Photos is the truth, dude. That's another one. Google Photos is the truth. If people haven't messed around with that yet, I've actually taken to creating these albums and sharing them, and it's dope. It's super dope.
Isn't?
Yeah, it's really great. I think the Google Photos and Google Camera combo are incredible, to be honest with you. I use
none of my friends have it.
Yeah, so like that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like Blade, right? I'm like the daywalker, right?
Yeah.
I like during these events, like I'll be using Google Photos on my iPhone to share with people who don't have AirDrop, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'll AirDrop it to people that do. So I'm like walking both worlds, man. But what I'll do is like I always carry my work phone around because my work phone has a better camera because I've still got an older model of the iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'll be taking all the photos on the Pixel, and then I'll be like, hey guys, this photo ended up better. You want me to share it? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start a Google Photos album, and then everyone's getting an iPhone. So, whoops.
That must be
how it is.
Does Google? Do they look down upon you when you bring out that little iPhone and you're like, oh, what
so
the
people,
hell,
yeah,
man?
so people ask that question a lot. Actually, there's a lot of Apple products at Google, and the reason being, like, I have my work computer is a MacBook, because it doesn't make any sense to be editing video on like a Pixelbook or another like Google computer. This is just like a better computer to use for editing. And then people, like a lot of engineers are developing for iOS, so they'll have iPhones,
okay.
Yeah. So
they still have a lot of crossover.
Yeah, and for a while, like Google was more of like a software space anyway. Like we're getting into the hardware space within the past like 2 or 3 years, and so it's relatively new space for Google. But yeah, it's not surprising when you walk around. I think it's shocking for guests who walk around to see like what they're like. Using MacBooks, and look, guy's got an iPhone, and we're like, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're doing our work right now, So,
do you see? Is there? And if you can't speak on it, feel free to just tell me. But is Google ever going to get into the streaming service game? Apple just did.
Yeah, I cannot confirm nor deny whether this will or will not happen.
What do you think about Apple's streaming announcement?
Oh man, So I cut the cable, actually.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it too.
Yeah, I totally cut it because I don't watch TV.
Do you watch live sports though?
I do.
That's the only thing.
So here's the trick, man. I have YouTube TV.
I was debating between YouTube TV and Sling.
YouTube TV is pretty bomb.
Is it? Okay.
It's got all the sports networks you need. And so this was another thing when like I found out that Google was doing this. When I first joined. My mind was blown. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. And then when they came out, I'm like, this is amazing, right?
What are they involved with? YouTube TV?
YouTube TV has like, they've got contracts with like ESPN, like all the major.
Oh, you were talking about YouTube TV.
Yeah, YouTube TV.
You said Google, sorry.
Oh no, but Google YouTube is part of Google.
Got it. I got
yeah,
you.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. So like, it's like, Google is like the parent company and YouTube is one of our branches, right? So.
I'm just a dumb chimp, so.
Oh no, man, it's cool, man. People are like sometimes I didn't even know that before I started working at Google. I'm like, oh yeah, they're the same. Okay,
they're the same. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, when they announced that was going to come out, and I was testing it out, I was like, this is pretty dope. I think I'm going to hop on this. And so, of course, keeping with tradition, what millennial doesn't share passwords with everybody, right? So like I've got my brother-in-law. He's got YouTube. He's letting me use his YouTube TV, and then I'm letting him use our Netflix, and then my sister lets us use our HBO Go. And so the thing is about like streaming services, man, there's just the reason I cut the cable is so that I could pay less. I don't want to have to keep paying more, and then it adds up to being like
that's the thing.
I'm like, dude, like with Disney and
Apple.
One of my friends shared DC with me, so I've been on that DC game though, so I've been watching all the things.
Yep.
I'm like I think a couple episodes behind on Doom Patrol, and
I got to start that. I only have.
I started watching Krypton as well.
Oh wow, Krypton.
Krypton's. I got some thoughts, man. It's pretty good. I mean, it's WB caliber show. Like take that in the best sense of the word, though.
Okay. All right.
It feels like it's like a decent show with intrigue. But like with Apple, I'm not 100% sure that I'm on board with all the stuff that they have to offer. With Disney, we know what they're going to offer. With DC, we know what they're going to offer. Netflix has original programming. We know what they're going to offer. Unless Apple comes out swinging out the gate with a show that's going to like blow, like multiple shows that might blow people's minds. Yeah, sure. But I heard Spielberg is going to be doing one for them. So
Spielberg's
that's interesting.
Involved. Yep.
But yeah, the streaming wars, man. We are in the wild, wild west.
We've been talking about that a lot on our podcast. That's the fact that, I mean, if you're doing, even if you cable or cut the cord cut, if you try to get all these streaming things, you might be paying just as much
or more.
Or more, yeah.
By the time it all adds up, and I think what they're trying to do these days is bundle like several.
Yeah.
You know, like here we're bundling these three together. You know,
I think Apple. I'm not exactly sure on all the details, but Apple's offering a bundle with
Hulu.
I forget. Yeah, I think Hulu. I don't know I know all I know is that Netflix is not playing ball with them. So they're whatever bundle they're going to offer, it won't involve Netflix because Netflix is like, F you, we're doing our own stuff. You're basically stealing our stuff or stealing our ideas. Streaming stuff will be interesting. I'm very curious to see who's gonna end up or who's gonna survive because I mean Netflix is still a train. I think they're still losing money.
That's crazy to me that they're producing some great shows and they're just.
But they're just. I mean, but yeah, all these streaming services, I believe, are losing money to start. So, but like you got Netflix, you got Hulu.
Amazon Prime is trying to become a player in the market.
Amazon Prime.
I don't really watch that much on Amazon Prime, to be honest with you.
And I got to be honest, I don't hear too much about Amazon Prime, other than when it first came out.
Yeah.
I don't hear a ton about that. I know that CBS has one.
Jeez.
ESPN has their own streaming now. Yeah. But the Disney one's a big player because I saw some of their. I think it was like a leaked video of their format or like how they're going to have it. But Disney Plus is going to come out and you can pick between like Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Nat Geo, and then something else. There was like 5 mega titans that you could pick from right off the bat.
Disney's just by very nature of what they produce, they're just going to have staying power forever, right? I mean, like, how smart are they to have Marvel under their belt?
And then Star Wars too. So those would be the 5 pillars.
Star Wars. It's a Goliath, right?
You got 5 things right off the bat. You go, if you get Disney Plus, you can get these 5 things right.
Someone had asked me, they're like, "How do you think it's going to fare?" I'm like, "Dude, Disney, like families, people who love Star Wars, like they're going to be just fine, you know."
And they own a piece of Hulu, so that's where I believe they're going to put all their mature stuff.
Oh, okay.
So all the Fox stuff that they acquire, that's kind of like a little edgy. Sure. All the the Marvel characters like Daredevil that were a little more edgy. I think they're going to throw that on Hulu. That's just my guess.
Yeah, that makes sense because I figured you'd have to because if you pop onto the Disney brand and then you see like hard R Daredevil, it doesn't add up on the Disney brand for sure. Now, it's a little off brand.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm excited to see where it goes, but it makes for now interesting choices for someone that wants to cut the cord. And if someone that doesn't cut the cord, I mean, geez.
See, this is why.
How big is your bill?
Yo, man, that's why you need friends, or you need to have a Filipino family that is willing to share. And it's a good thing. Like people are like, "Hey, yeah, take this."
Oh yeah, I'll fully admit my Netflix is shared with Justin Cappadocia.
See, there you go. There it is. Shout out, JCap.
Shout out to him. My Hulu, I was sharing that with a coworker, and they now bundled that with Spotify. So Spotify is offering that plus Hulu for $10 a month. I'm like, I'm all in. Yeah. So I have Hulu and Spotify, and then what was the third one? What's the third big guy?
Because I do Spotify.
Yeah, if you do Spotify, just sign up for your Hulu. It's included in your Spotify.
Oh my! Oh, dude.
Yeah.
My mind is blown right now.
Yeah, just Google that.
Get my Hulu back.
And shout out to Google. Just Google it.
Hey.
What was the third big thing? Oh, Amazon Prime? Is that what that's another one that I think I'm sharing off someone or stealing.
Amazon Prime is like, my sister, I give Amazon Prime to my sister, I believe.
And then I don't know if we were like looking for this movie Predestination.
What's that?
It's with Ethan Hawke. It's a time travel movie that's really trippy.
Oh.
It makes you sit down and think for a little bit. We had to review that for our Jock and Nerd show because someone subscribed at a high. I would recommend it. Someone subscribed at the high, like at an amount where they get to tell us what movie to review. So we'd had to do that. And Imran found it on this service called Sparkle, Sony Sparkle. It's completely free.
Sparkle.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
I think it's Sparkle.
Yeah.
And you download that and it's completely free. And there's a bunch of movies on that.
I feel like Sparkle is going to go the way of Ultraviolet players. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was trying to be a thing?
Yeah, I remember. What was
HD DVD?
Yeah,
all these things.
What were those things?
I don't know.
I'm always the last to technology. That's the thing.
I just remember it tried to be a thing, and they just kept trying to make fetch happen. It didn't happen, man.
But I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? I mean, I'm a little. From what I read about Apple's debut, is not a lot of people were impressed.
Yeah,
with what they had to offer
until they make something awesome that's going to catch fire. You know what I mean?
I mean, it was other than the the Steven Spielberg announcement. I don't know. Oh, they had an Oprah thing. Oprah is going to be involved in some way as well.
That's an interesting crowd that they're trying to draw.
So here, Oprah, Jennifer Aniston, Steven Spielberg, Reese Witherspoon, Steve Carell. We're all at the thing.
Oh man, Steve Carell's great.
I got to bring this up now that we have. So me, you, Rex, Erwin are in the chat.
We are in a chat.
By the way, so you were on Jock and Nerd episode 39.
Wow, 39. That seems
39.
so long ago.
It's a long time ago.
You guys have done great. Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Yeah,
congratulations.
We're at here. Let me look. I'm looking it up right now. What we're at. We're at now episode 269. So,
jeez,
it's been a long time. But you were on 39.
Lifetime ago.
Rex was on the Jock and Nerd. Erwin's been on the Jock and Nerd.
We gotta get
all of us on.
Yeah. We gotta get all four of us on.
We can do it on this show. Yeah.
Yeah. We can do it on the show.
But what my point being is, we all have this chat where we talk about stuff after it happens.
Everything.
But I've never actually talked to you immediately after something happens on the phone, in person, via the internet now, about anything that happens. Game of Thrones. Season 8, episode 1 happened.
Wow.
I haven't had a chance to talk about it because I literally just watched it, finished it an hour and a half ago.
And then you texted us the wolf emoji. So we got this. The signal is we're on embargo until everyone texts the wolf emoji. And
Exactly.
I think that is the best way to go about it. We need to come up with it. We need to figure out what emoji to use for Endgame. Because it's got to be embargoed until then, right?
Yeah, we'll have to figure something out.
Even like sharing like, OMG, did you guys watch it? We don't do that, right? It's just wolf emoji. We watched it. No one watched it. We waited.
Very straight up.
Yeah.
But what did you think?
Well, okay. So now, hey, if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't watched it, this is your warning.
This is the spoiler button that would be normally hit on the Jock and Nerd, but I don't have that button. It's your own fault
at this point. If you keep listening, that's on you, man.
That's on you.
That's on you. Dude, I was so excited to see all the characters back. And
dude, how about that countdown to start?
Oh, dude, that was crazy.
a countdown right off the bat. I was like, oh man.
I think like what was brilliant about it was because it's a very small faction of people that have said that this episode felt too slow for them, which I disagree in a lot of ways, because you're reorienting everyone back into the world, right?
It's been 2 years.
It's been like 2 years since we've seen them, and so it's necessary. And I appreciate that so much about the storytellers, that they take the time to like set the table properly instead of just like throwing you in. And they could have thrown us in, and I'm sure we would have all gone for that ride. But what was super dope about it was all the callbacks to season 1, episode 1.
Yeah.
There's
a ton of them.
I'm going to send you guys this now that we all sent each other the wolf emoji, but there's this really great BuzzFeed article of all articles that just knocks through all of the Easter eggs in this episode.
That's a good one. I'm going to send you guys the Screen Crush one, where they do it on video, and that one's really good too. So
yeah, and so like
there's a bunch of these, but
I'm sure there's going to be overlap, but like right down to the music in the beginning, that was the same music that was used when what's his name, Robert Baratheon walked in and marched into Westeros. The kid running through to get a glimpse, same thing that Arya did. All the way to the end when Jaime took off his hood, that's when he took off his helmet in, season 1, episode 1. So there's these like small little callbacks I just thought were so genius, because we're getting into that bookend mode, right? Where it's like, well, here it is. Yeah, it was just really great to see all the characters. And then now that we've seen them, we're like, okay, now people are going to die, which is really unfortunate. But my initial gut reaction was I just loved it. I loved being back in the world. There were so many great moments, and I just can't believe this is a TV show. I just gotta say it. In general, like, what the heck, dude? We are watching like film quality stuff, put out as a TV show. I can't believe it.
I've asked my co-host this, and I'll ask you: is it the best TV show you've ever seen? And obviously, it's hard to say that because we don't know what the landing is going to look like.
Yeah.
But where does it rank right
in terms of episodic? Yeah, I think it's. I think it might be. It's right up there with Breaking Bad, to be honest with you. Breaking Bad is probably the best TV I've ever seen in my life.
Okay. I haven't. I got to get around in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it's just incredible storytelling, like characters, writing, the whole 9 yards. Game of Thrones has that as well, right?
Okay.
They have all the same qualities of long form episodic storytelling where you invest deeply into the characters, and then the actions have consequences and there feels like there's something at stake, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot riding on this season. I mean, like, dude, where to begin even, you know? So that was just my general reaction. How did you feel about the episode?
Oh, man. So, I mean, this has been... I mean, for me, I binge. Have I told you how I watched this show? Yeah.
I listened to how you watched the show when you were talking to TJ Johnson.
Yeah.
Is it about it?
Yep. I binged it pretty quickly. So I these past, what's it been 7-8 years that it's been on? I've only been a part of the conversation for the past year.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. But I'm so into it. I mean, just the countdown alone, I was like so pumped. And then right away I noticed, holy fuck, this intro. Oh, they've changed all the CGI graphics.
Yeah,
oh my gosh. They're telling a different story already. Like, oh my God, the detail. So that was really cool. I did catch a lot of those callbacks, especially upon watching Screen Crush's video, which I sent to you guys already. Just 2 seconds ago.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yep. So that was really cool to see all those callbacks. I personally was expecting it to start a little like faster.
Yeah.
But I don't mind the pace because there's a ton of episodes in Game of Thrones where a lot of nothing in terms of action happens, but a lot of character development happens.
Yeah.
And this episode, like you said, set up a lot of things that I kind of forgot.
Yeah.
Like I forgot that Daenerys had burned Sam Tarly's brother and father alive. I totally forgot that they would have had some conflict right there.
Right.
I was like, oh, that happened. Then when at the end when Jaime comes back and he notices that Bran is still alive, I'm like, oh fuck,
he hasn't seen him since season 1, episode 1.
Right.
That's the last time he saw him.
And even Arya, I was like, oh, Arya hasn't seen Jon in all these years.
And Arya hasn't seen the Hound, and Arya hasn't seen Gendry. You know?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, these things, like, I forgot that there is these little rifts that could happen, or these reunifications of characters that haven't happened in so long that I was like, oh, they're already like moving chessboard pieces around for potential conflict. So the thing I was most surprised about is that they just got it out of the way. They told Jon Snow right off the bat, your name's Aegon. Yep. I was like, oh.
Most people were expecting that like mid-season, but like even Brandbot 9000 as the EW writers referred to him. Brandbot 9000. That's a great nickname for him.
That's awesome.
He was like, we don't have time for this.
Bran just like, you got to tell him right now. And even when they told him, like, they're not going to do it right now. Like, that's probably just a little tease for later. Nope, Sam Tarly. And I mean, I guess it makes sense for his character because he just heard that Daenerys burned his brother alive. He goes, this is not a queen. Like, I got to go tell the guy right now that you're the man. Like, you would not have done that if you were in that position.
That moment when John's like, he's like, when Sam was like, you showed people mercy. He's like, yeah, but I wasn't a king. He's like, yes, you were. You've always been a king. Right. When he told him, John's like, that look on John's face. And they said in the making of, like, they could have cut to Sam, but they played it all on John's face because they wanted to show how he was reacting to this news, right?
That's all his
he's
moment.
Like, he's like he is so about doing the right thing and about the North that he doesn't care about the title. The simple fact that, like, this is just uprooting his whole life. This is the central conflict of his character arc.
Right.
And he's just being flipped. Right?
He's just been flipped.
What a wild sequence, man.
He's looked up to his dad this whole time, and he finds out in that moment that his dad is not his dad and is not. And he learns that his dad's, the honor that his dad had isn't the same. Like the way he imagined his dad to be isn't exactly the way it always has been for his dad. Like
he like said, you're telling me like my father, the most honorable man that I've ever known, was lying.
Right.
But for Ned, he was true to his honor.
He was doing the honorable thing.
He was.
But in that moment, John is going, wait a minute, my dad would never do that.
Right,
that's not the dad that I know. But he was and then the wheels are turning when Sam tells him about, would you do that as a king, basically? Would you burn? And they cut, and it's John's face, and you can just see his face going, wait, am I supporting the right person here?
Right.
Is this the woman that's supposed to lead us?
Yeah, and it's like how he reacts to all the things happening in that scene, man. Hats off to Kit Harington. That dude
he's great.
Crushed it. Yeah, man. Like he killed it. That whole sequence.
That was all great.
Even the dude playing Sam, man, like he crushed.
Oh, he
just crushed
it too.
Crushed it.
I even enjoy that. Like John is all like, who cares about kings and queens right now? We gotta. There's the death is at our doorstep. Like,
it's right
the devil
there.
is here.
It's coming, man.
Yeah.
It's coming. Like I don't know if it's gonna come in episode 2 or 3, but it's coming. Like I don't know if you noticed on the map, the detail of like there's this dark ice that is like showing the path of the White Walkers. Yeah. Did you notice that from the broken down wall? And it's like at Last Hearth. Like it's already surrounding it. So that was like a big like clue into what we're going to see. And the next place over is freaking Winterfell, man. It's right there. You know, like
and the thing about Winterfell, you probably know this, but Winterfell is the place where they first staved off the White Walkers. That's where winter fell. That's where they got them out. So yeah, I don't see good things happening for Winterfell this time around.
I don't either, man. Like if we can talk about predictions in a minute, but let's keep slicing through this episode. It was jam packed. Oh man, like how about that Cersei, huh? Oh my God.
So what do you think happened there when she, do you think, because they linger on her like with a little bit of a tear in her eye after, her eyes are looking a little glassy after she bangs Euron for a bit.
Well, I thought
she had a baby in her, right?
Yeah, well, you know, she was drinking wine.
She wasn't drinking wine.
She wasn't drinking wine when she told Tyrion, or when Tyrion figured it out in the season finale of episode 7. But she was drinking wine after she knocked boots with Euron.
So
but
she might have had
like,
something going on. Yeah.
Like in that culture, it's Cersei, man. She can drink whenever she wants. I don't know.
Well, no, here's the thing about Cersei, and that's a good point that you bring up about her not drinking wine, is the one thing you realize about Cersei is she might be evil as hell when it comes to a lot of things, but you can make damn sure she's going to try to protect her kids.
She's all about the kids.
She's all about her kids. So I don't see her drinking wine. Yeah.
Right.
And the way they lingered on her, I think it seems, and someone might have been TJ that told me this, that TJ Johnson from one of my other shows, but he might have, I think he told me that he predicts that Cersei's had a miscarriage already, that she doesn't have this baby in her. And that's why she's now open to Euron. She's got to have a kid.
Yeah. What's interesting about that whole sequence is Lena Headey, who plays Cersei. She did this great article for Entertainment Weekly. Entertainment Weekly does amazing articles because they get great access to Game of Thrones. So I'm always like reading them right afterwards. But she was going back and forth with the producers about whether or not the character of Cersei would sleep with Euron, would she give up her body in that situation? Because she's like, no, she wouldn't. She would fight. That's how she initially felt about the whole situation. Right? She's like, Cersei, that's not true to character. Why would she give in to this guy who's so like loathsome?
Right.
But like she eventually agreed with the writers and the producers that actually, because she has no allies, basically she overplayed her hand with Jaime in the season finale where, you know, she threatened to kill him, have the mountain kill him. And it was a big bluff. Like she lost that. He said like, I'm the only one you have left. Right.
Right.
And she just threw it all away. And now the only allies she really has are these people who aren't really her allies. Right. Aside from Qyburn, who's like, seemingly one of the best / creepiest right-hand mans out there next to Davos.
I got to say, my quick side note, one of my favorite Qyburn scenes is in the season finale of season 7 when the walker's arm falls off, or the white.
He picks it up.
And he picks it up and looks at it with like a boner, basically. He's like, ooh, look at this.
Like, this is really fascinating, man.
This is crazy.
Experiment on this. You know? But yeah, I think Qyburn's like the only one that's loyal to Cersei at this point.
Him, Qyburn, and the Mountain.
Yeah, Qyburn and the Mountain. She's got 2, but I mean, like when it comes to ships and men and all these, like anybody. There's nobody. So like Euron just wants to bone her. Like he's not. Yeah. Oh, totally, man. And man, that guy who plays Euron, he's the bomb too. Like he's just sold out to that character, right?
Yeah.
I actually really enjoy his quips. They're creepy and awful, but he's like the best at it, right? But yeah, like she has no resources, and so I think she does what in her mind is a strategic thing to do, obviously, and do that. But now the question begs to be seen, like when he's like, I'm going to put a baby in you. Did she have a miscarriage? Is that what the tear is about? Is she trying to like get pregnant with Euron to cover up so that she could, cover up Jaime's baby?
Oh yeah, that could be the case too.
Is she really pregnant? That's the third question. Who knows, right? I don't even know if that's true or not. I'm still on the fence with it. Tough question.
So much to digest there.
Yeah. Oh man, I actually really loved how like, and then after that sequence with Euron and Cersei, we like cut to the ship, and then we like smash cut to like arrows being thrown through people's heads, and then boom, here's Theon rescuing Yara just like that. I was like, yo, what a G, man, just like that.
And Yara just headbutts him right in the face to greet him.
That was awesome. Like I kind of felt like that was coming, but I'm like, and then she picks him up, right?
Right.
Like, yes, the Ironborn. That's how they do things.
I liked too that they have this understanding. Like she's gonna go to was it the Pikes? I forget the names of these cities because it's been 2 years.
Yeah, she's gonna go to, I believe it's Pike, which is the Iron Islands.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And just in case things go haywire,
which
they can.
In my prediction at the end, we'll talk about that.
Okay. Yeah. Just in case things go haywire, they can take everyone over there.
Yeah.
But she lets him. Theon wants to fight for the Starks still, and she's kind enough to be like, that's also your family.
Right.
Go over there and do it. Right.
And I think that's what's kind of interesting about, like what we saw happen through the series of Game of Thrones was the killing off of the first generation of old school heads, and then now you have the new school kids, the leadership, like the second gen of these folks coming up, and they all think so differently.
They're all much more. They all have a little bit more compassion on the surface than their fathers. You know, Theon's father, certainly Daenerys' father. Jon is a little. I mean, Jon takes a lot from his father, but he's also smarter in playing the game than his dad. So they're all different in like you pointed out.
Right. And then we got that interaction between Sansa and Daenerys, which I feel like I've heard some people are like, they were a little upset that Sansa was like throwing shade at her. But I'm like, yo, okay. Realistically though, I mean, like Sansa's been holding down the fort at Winterfell. She has been like, she's trying to stave off this winter. You come marching through with like this huge army, dragons, this foreign queen who like your brother now just lost his crown to. And you're like, dude, come on, man. And on top of that,
tell us we got no food here for these people.
And on top of that, let's remember that Daenerys' father was the one that burned her grandfather and her uncle.
Right.
Right? Like in the rebellion, like that. Well, like she burned them to death with dragon, what was it?
Wildfire.
Wildfire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you have this history. Well, then she's like, am I supposed to forget this? Like, I know who you are.
Not only that, but then you have Tyrion going and they're bringing the Lannister army. And she goes, first off, I don't trust the Lannisters one bit. Right. Second, you trusted Cersei? Are you a moron?
Yeah.
Like she immediately throws Tyrion on the bus and makes herself the smartest character in the room by just being like, wasn't that obvious? What are you guys doing?
Which is, she's right though.
She's absolutely right,
dude. She's 100% right. You really think they're gonna come there?
And I haven't liked how her character's been written for most of this series. So it's nice to see that. Okay, like now there's something that where you can go. All right, she's making decisions that are rational and make a lot of sense.
And she's making tough decisions, right?
Right.
And the tension here is that she's making these tough decisions in a way where I was talking with people about this, like in a way where it's like she still has like the old world kind of dictating how things go. She hasn't seen the White Walkers yet.
Nope.
She has no idea what kind of. She wasn't on that like icy lake where Daenerys had to save them, right?
Right.
I guarantee, anyone from Winterfell was there seeing that, they'd be like, dude, we're going to war. Let's like put the pedal in the metal here, you know, but she hasn't seen it, right? And I don't blame them. And so
no, it's hard to believe in the boogeyman until you see them.
Yeah. We all have to get into that mindset of like understanding where these characters are coming from in order to see that like all their decisions, how they're playing out on screen are 100% rational, right?
Right. Everyone is acting within character.
Exactly. There's no one that was out of character in this episode. I was like, wow, everyone's playing to like their journey, right?
What did you think about it was small, but what did you think about the little bit of Bran getting given the arrows that Tyrion killed his dad with, and now he's
Bronn?
being Bronn, sorry, not Bran. Bronn.
Yeah, if we did a poll out here, how many people think like Bronn's really going to kill either Jaime or Tyrion? Like, I'm in the camp that says he probably won't.
I say probably not, but that would be a hell of a turn for that character.
It would. Someone said that would really be poetic justice if that was how Tyrion bit his.
That'd be a rough way to go.
Yeah, it would be brutal, actually. And I'm not, holding it against Game of Thrones that they won't do that. They might do that.
Right.
Game of Thrones is crazy, you know.
Someone get Cersei her elephants. That's all I care about.
she wants those elephants. She's really disappointed about that, man. I would say the elephants was the catalyst for her knocking boots with Euron. She didn't get her elephants. She was sad, and maybe she could get them. Who knows? I really love that interaction between the Hound and Arya. It was what it needed to be. So much packed into that small line. You know? I would have loved to see them play it out more. I feel like they might, but that was super dope. I really enjoyed that buddy journey that they were on. It was really complex.
But it was complex, but it was also Arya she left him to die because he was on her list. And now, that he's back, does she still want to cross him off the list, or is this now
Which is interesting. Someone arguably said that maybe she didn't kill him at that point because at that point he was off her list, and she's like, "Oh, if you die, then you die." She had no obligation to save him. No, she didn't. And I thought it was really interesting and awesome actually to see her concede to her sister's brilliance. She's like, Sansa's the smartest person I know, right?
Yeah, that was nice too.
I was like, wow, there's some respect there because they went through it,
right.
They had their story in the previous season, but the reunions were great. I mean, man. Oh, and then someone said too, now bringing Jaime Lannister to
that just
Winterfell
opens up another can of worms.
It's remember, people, Jaime is the Kingslayer. He killed Daenerys' father. Yep,
killed Daenerys' father, and he's responsible for Bran being a cripple.
Yep. So
he's got two families right off the bat that just hate his guts.
I heard the actor who plays him, I can never pronounce his last name, but Nicholas Walder.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to stop.
Waldo Cost something.
Costu.
Yeah.
My bad, bro.
You're listening.
If you end up guest podcasting here. He said, so what was Jaime thinking at that moment? And he's like, how the hell did they make a wheelchair? What is that thing?
That's a good point.
He's like, that's the first thing I'm thinking. The second thing I'm thinking is oh, is that the kid that pushed out the window?
Yeah, right.
It is, I think that's really, he's like, that's what was going on in Jaime's mind. He's like, what is that thing he's sitting on? There are no wheelchairs in Westeros.
Well, it looks like the next episode he's going to be on trial or something's going to be happening.
Yeah, I don't watch any of the trailers, man.
Oh, sorry, I spoiled that.
No, it's cool, man. So I just leave the room. Oh, speaking of not watching trailers, I still haven't watched the Endgame trailer. I know we're taking a side detour right now.
No, that's cool. This is wherever this goes, where it goes.
So for Shazam, when I went to watch it, I was telling my friends, I'm like, hey man, let me know if the Avengers trailer, because I don't even know what it looks like, the opening, shot. I don't know what it is. And once it happens, let me know. And
you've avoided all the trailers?
I watched the Super Bowl teaser. That's the last thing I saw.
That's the only wait, did you see the one before the Super Bowl teaser?
Which
it starts with Tony in the ship.
Yes, I saw that.
Okay, one. So you saw that one where he talks to the helmet.
Yeah, I saw that one. And then I never saw anything else after that.
Wow, that's great.
I legit got up when they're like, "Oh, this is it, Chris." I got up and it was one of those reclining seats, so I had to crawl out of it. And I booked it out of the theater and I just waited.
Wow.
So part of that too is because
discipline.
It is, and part of it is too is because I've invested so many years. In the case of Game of Thrones, it was 9 years, 8 years, 9 years.
Yeah, 8 years at least.
With Avengers Endgame, this is a 10-year investment. I just wanted to pay the maximum payoff possible. And the thing with me as a visual storyteller who's cut trailers is images stick.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they stick, I can piecemeal them into the movie when things are going to happen. And I don't want them to stick, and it's my own fault for having a brain like that. But that's what happens. Let
me warn you right now. I've linked us 2 videos from Full Fat Videos about Captain America. They're both about 30. Don't watch them.
Yeah,
they're both about 30 to 40 minutes long, but they include footage from these trailers that you don't want to see.
Right. And I'm so excited to watch everything after I watch it. I'm going to watch all the things, and I can't wait. I'm going to watch all the trailers. I'm going to do it all.
Okay, let me ask you this. I mean, I know we can get back to Game of Thrones whenever.
Sure.
But what would, for you as a story, you've told a bunch of stories. Iron Man, Cap, let's even throw in Thor. What's the resolution to each of these characters if you were in charge?
Wow.
And or if you can't do all 3, pick one and go.
Okay. Well, I think the journey started with okay, so the cinematic journey started with Tony. Right. The Avengers journey technically started with Steve Rogers, but then technically started with Captain Marvel. Now in the
sure, but more so Captain America.
But with these OG guys, I just think that like, part of the reason we're drawn to, these stories of these Marvel stories is just the heroic myth, right?
Right.
People that can rise up to something that is better than what we are, almost. It gives us something to look up to. Right. I think inherent in all of us is this idea that like we actually desire that like that good, right? We want to see justice.
We want to think that in that situation we would do the same thing,
right? The truth of the matter is we wouldn't.
Yeah, truth be told, it's a lot harder in that situation to do the right thing.
And so we look to these heroes because they can shoulder that and they can do it.
Right.
So because this whole thing started with Tony, I think the resolution ends with Tony, right?
Okay.
He's going to do something. I think all these, I don't know who's going to key in on this theme of sacrifice, but someone's going to do it. And if I had to bet, it would be Tony.
Okay.
Or Cap. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know.
It's hard.
I'm just super excited. All I know is like, I'm going to have too many feels, man. Like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to process this. Like, you talk about like the investment over years with these characters. And it's one thing to do that in a TV show, but I got to give my hats off to Marvel to do this in film form.
Right.
That's incredible. That's
incredible.
Incredible. Yeah, they had their like, just like any TV show, like there were some like stupid episodes in between or like ones that weren't as good. But man, the scaffolding for this, wow, just remarkable.
It's insane.
But like, see, so I think someone's hero's journey is going to come to an end. I think there's definitely going to be something between like the Tony Steve Rogers dynamic that might play out. If I had to guess too. See, it's like I haven't watched any trailers. I don't even know any sound bites or quotes. So I'm really excited. I don't know.
That you're in a great place in terms of not knowing anything. I mean, I will say the trailers that have come out haven't shown enough to. I mean, there's some things that are maybe a little spoilery, but they're not things that you wouldn't have predicted to happen.
Sure, and I love that the Russos too are spending time and they're going out there and they're saying like, we like when they went to go watch Empire Strikes Back when they were kids, not knowing that feeling of like, and again, this is your own fault. Like, guys, Empire Strikes Back's been out forever. So, if you don't know the storyline, then that's on you. But when they found out that, Darth Vader was Luke's father, when they were kids, their minds were blown. And then they said, like, this is what we want the feeling to be for the people that come watch Endgame. Like, we don't want this to be spoiled for anybody. And so if it were up to them, they're saying like, yeah, don't watch anything. But because we know the nature of the beast, we're going to create stuff. And then they went on record saying like, yeah, we like fake trailers. We can create fake stuff.
That's great.
And I'm like, dude, amazing.
The fake trailer thing is a new thing that I think Marvel's definitely keyed in on, which I'm a fan of just because everyone analyzes these trailers so much that let's make it fun. Let's throw you off the scent just a little bit.
And I love that they have like the resources to do that. They're like, hey, we're just going to create a brand new scene. Why not? Let's do it. And I love that everyone's game. They're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, why not?
Let's go for it.
If I had to predict, and this isn't spoiling anything, I would say one of those characters dies.
For sure.
And I'd say one gets written out. Written out
like walk away in the sunset.
Walk away in the sunset. If I had to pick, I would say Tony gets written out to walk away in the sunset because this entire time he's been going, we have to prepare. Like I can't live my life. I would love to have a kid, but we have to prepare for this. Like this is the moment. This is the end game. I have to do this. Like this is my obligation. So if he can like walk off in the sunset and like walk away with Pepper and they have a kid, like that'd be a great ending for him. He'd never necessarily put on the suit.
Yeah.
I do think Cap dies. Not only because this is the end of Chris Evans's contract apparently, but I also think. And this is from the video that I watched, so I can't take full credit for this idea. But ever since the first Cap, he's been stuck in this mindset of I have to keep fighting these wars because this is I can't move on. Like I'd love to have a family with Peggy Carter, but that's never going to happen. Right. I'd love to, there's a scene in Age of Ultron where it's very small where he looks inside of Hawkeye's house and he just thinks to himself, I wish I could have this, but it's never going to happen. So he's always been fighting this war. So for him, I think death is the way to go.
Wow.
Because he is at the moment now where he has lost everything. I mean, he literally at the end of Infinity War loses his best friend, Bucky, who he'll lie for. In Civil War, he lies for that character to cover his ass against Tony. And now that person's gone. So he literally has nothing left in terms of, keeping him on this earth except to fight this one last time.
Yeah.
And this one last time, I think for him, he fights this battle, hopefully they win, and he gets to go to heaven with, like, Peggy. Like, that's where I see that going.
He seems like the perfect character to be singularly focused to throw himself onto that mission, right? Like, he's the character that jumped on the grenade when he was a skinny kid.
Right. He is always the character that in bad, like if the war is worthy of fighting and someone suggests to do it, like he'll be the first one to get up and go, yep, I'm in. And he's always every Avengers movie, if you notice, he fights Loki in the beginning. He's clearly outmatched. Fights Ultron in Ultron. He's clearly outmatched. They even tell him you're outmatched. In the Infinity War, it's a small scene, but he grabs Thanos' glove, clearly outmatched, and Thanos is like, "Holy shit, what is this human doing?"
Right.
Like he's stopping me. He's always the first, even when he's outmatched.
Yeah, no hesitation.
No hesitation. So if there's anyone to make the sacrifice play, especially since now Tony already had that moment in Avengers. I see Cap. I could see Cap having that moment in this. I don't know, but that's just my prediction. I don't know. This is not based off anything else.
Yeah, no.
Other than the character arcs of both of these guys, and I could see, I could actually see Thor getting killed very easily as well, because I feel like Ragnarok to Infinity War was such a great moment for him.
Yeah.
That I don't know how much more that character can do.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. This is just all my armchair predictions, but
for sure, man,
I'm excited.
I can't wait. This is such a crazy time because we've got Game of Thrones going on,
right?
And Infinity and Endgame coming up,
both at the same time.
This is crazy.
Both culminating.
Let's not forget Dark Phoenix.
Oh God, Sansa Stark.
Whoops, that's still a thing.
That's still a thing.
About that though.
Do you have predictions for Game of Thrones?
I do. I was thinking about it today.
Yeah.
And
I don't have as many thoughts on Game of Thrones as far as predictions.
It was like a small prediction, not necessarily who ends up on the throne. It's just a prediction of how they might play out the story. And these are things that by the time this comes out, who knows? They could be completely.
You're going to look like the biggest moron ever.
Yeah, but whatever. I just think knowing what we know about Winterfell and knowing what we know about where the White Walkers are and how they've been kind of introducing us to the crypt a little bit more in Winterfell. Even in the intro, I feel like that's going to play in the storyline.
Oh, yeah.
So I think some last stand stuff is going to be happening down in the crypt. They're not walking out of Winterfell A-okay. They're not going to win this battle that's coming to their doorstep. It's not going to happen.
No, not as the first stand, like the first major outpost in a battle.
I think so. I think that they're going to lose, just like, they lost on... it's going to feel like an Empire Strikes Back loss. It's going to feel pretty brutal. And then they're going to either have to retreat to the Iron Islands. So Theon might make a sacrifice play and tell them where they are. Go there. Or they might straight up fly to King's Landing.
Yeah, that'd be interesting too.
If you remember, this goes all the way back to, I think this is season 2. When Daenerys is trying to get her dragons back from that weird warlock, he puts her through this series of visions. Do you remember this?
I do, but I don't remember all the details on the
She goes into this tent, and there's that's the last test. She sees, Jason Momoa. What's his name? Khal Drogo.
Khal Drogo, yeah.
Yeah, how could I forget? Love me some Khal Drogo. So she sees Khal Drogo there, and then he's telling her, "Stay with me," and she almost feels compelled to stay in this tent, but she knows it's not real. But preceding that, she walks out of the wall at the Night's Watch, and then she sees the wilderness. Then she walks a little bit further. I might have the order mixed up, but she is in the throne room in the Red Keep at King's Landing, and it's the roof is completely blown off.
Oh, it's snowing.
It's snowing.
Right? Yep.
Snow everywhere. Now that can mean one of two things, right? That can either mean metaphorical snow, as in Jon Snow is taking the throne, or that can mean that the Night's King has come through with his freaking blue fire-breathing dragon and wreaked havoc.
Yeah, that could be anything.
On King's Landing. But that's where I feel like, of course, the last stand is going to take place. That's where I think like the Golden Company is going to have to rally and fight. And that's where I think like, I don't know what's going to happen to Cersei or who's going to get her there, So there were two there. So it's that middle bit of like the crypt, in the intro.
Mm-hmm.
And then also at the King's Landing section of the intro, they reintroduced us again to that giant crossbow in the dragon's lair.
Yep, I saw that.
What if that comes into play with the ice dragon, So like there are some things that I feel like I might be cluing in, right? So again,
I mean, they are harvesting dragon glass.
Right, yeah. And so they could throw it onto that big freaking arrow and shoot it at the thing. I don't know how the action's going to play out. I just know that it's going to be very costly in the two to come. And I really have this feeling that they're just not going to be able to walk out of Winterfell without experiencing brutal loss. I think we're all going to feel it. I'm not ready for it, man, because there's some characters I really love.
I could see a lot of these characters going away, which would be tough. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle it. I remember watching The Red Wedding and going, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can handle this anymore.
Yeah, the character who plays the Hound, they have these like introspectives where the characters are now looking back.
Mm-hmm.
And his is great because he's talking about when he first saw The Red Wedding. He didn't read that section,
mm-hmm.
and he just ended up watching it on TV, I think.
Okay.
And he said he was crying I was crying like a little girl. Like, I was like, what is happening? He's like, no.
It's I mean, seeing that and not being spoiled, I wish anyone that watches Game of Thrones, well, if they see it now, if it's obviously we're kind of spoiling it, but I wish anyone that would start Game of Thrones
to it as the Red Wedding,
just watch. Hopefully, you don't get too spoiled by the Red Wedding, prior, because I was lucky enough to not be spoiled.
Incredible that wasn't spoiled, bro. Like,
oh, incredible! Because did I ever tell you what I first did when I started Game of Thrones?
No, what was it?
So I watched it on HBO Go.
Uh-huh.
And unlike Netflix, they put the last episode first on every season.
Oh no! You watched the last episode? You watched the season finale?
I watched the season finale first, and had no clue what was going on.
Oh man!
And just going, what? None of this makes sense.
What is this show?
Yeah.
Where's the exposition?
And then I Wikipedia'd the first episode, and I go,
wait a minute.
None of this matches up to what I just saw. But by 2 or 3 episodes in, I go, oh crap. I know that Ned's dead. I know he's dead already. So I really screwed that up.
Oh man. So that's what sold that. Yeah. And so if you went on the journey properly, that's what sealed the deal for me.
Right.
Like, when that happened, I said, what kind of show am I dealing with here? What is this? And they just kept doing it to you. And it was crazy, man.
Did you watch it from literally like right when it came out, or did someone have to recommend it to you?
Someone recommended it to me.
Okay.
This is back in the day when streaming services weren't a thing yet. So I was renting because none of us had HBO, so we couldn't even watch it live. So I just rented the DVDs on Netflix. And
you rented them?
Yeah.
Rented the DVDs on Netflix.
The Netflix
awesome.
DVD days, my friend. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I remember those days.
Remember those days? Those was crazy.
I do.
So I had like the Netflix, DVD version of them and watched it that way, and then downloaded the torrents for like the beginning of season 2, and then started the regular cadence of watching it with everyone else. So you're actually now. I'm glad you have the great fortune of waiting now, like the rest of us had to do.
I know
for every episode.
That's tough. Being now,
it's hard.
It's so I'm so accustomed to the binge thing.
Yeah. How do you feel about having it released one episode at a time? Now that you've experienced that,
it's hard, man. It's hard.
Challenging.
I remember I had this experience with Walking Dead, where I binged it.
You could cut through.
I cut through 6 or 7 seasons, and then had to watch it week to week. That was rough, man. I eventually quit Walking Dead because of that. I mean, I quit because of many reasons, but that's certainly a factor. Is that you have to wait, and if you don't like a particular episode or two, it can be really exhausting to have to wait.
Especially with a show like Walking Dead, where a lot of it is, same type of exposition. Actually, yes, I actually watched this last season. Was pretty brilliant. I gotta say, with the exception of like 4 episodes.
Wow,
felt kind of slow. The new showrunner, she killed it, man. Like, she brought the show back to like this really great style of storytelling that
Mhm.
I was really surprised in the best way possible.
They had to replace Scott Gimple.
He's not I think he's good at like a big picture, but dude, like I don't know, like I understand why you quit. I understand why everyone quit.
The way they bungled the what was the guy's name? Dude that played with the leather jacket.
Oh,
and the bat. Negan. The way they played up Negan, and for it to, and the episode where it's the season finale and you see Negan and then he hits someone on the top of the head and you don't know who it is.
Yeah, they bungled that.
And the way they bungled that, I just, from that point forward, it was really rough to watch that week to week, and I was just so bitter at how they decided to handle that.
So finale. So Game of Thrones was really smart in that, like, the penultimate episode was like almost the second to last episode.
It was usually 9. Yeah,
it was
usually
like
9.
in the middle somewhere, right?
Right.
Usually 9, something crazy was gonna, and that's when it would, and you had like one more
10
episode
would be
to resolve.
set up. Yeah,
set up for the next season. Still chock full of craziness, though, right?
Right.
Walking Dead left on this stupid cliffhanger. Like, and what I will say now is with the new showrunner, they pulled a little bit out of the hat from from Game of Thrones, and they had their penultimate happen, and then they had a resolution episode. And it was awesome. I was like, I did not expect that type of storytelling, and visually too. It was like the first half of the season in particular looks great. Like even episode 1, if you watch the new episode, like episode 1 of this season, you're like, wow, this is really great.
What season are they on?
What are they on now? 9.
Okay, so would you recommend jumping back in?
Go watch 9. Yeah, honestly, so Mara would come home and she'd see me. Mara's my wife, to those listening. She'd come home and she'd see me watching The Walking Dead season, the previous season. And she would hear from another room like, that's so stupid. What an idiot. Why is he doing that? Oh, this is dumb. Why am I watching this? And then I'd watch, and then I'd do it all over again the next week. I just like, man, it was a really bad show. It was really bad. But it became great.
I quit midway through 7, so that was where I would have to jump back in.
Understandable. Man. And then even what they did with Negan is pretty great.
Is it? Okay. I mean, I know in the comics he doesn't die, so I have an idea of what's going to happen or where he kind of ends up.
Let me know if you end up watching it. I'm
a one show at a time guy, so I'll have to finish Game of Thrones first.
I hear you.
Once I get that resolution, so then I'll jump into Walking Dead.
Yeah, I always wonder. Like, I think to myself, like, what would The Walking Dead be like if it was on HBO? Man,
so much
it would probably be really great.
So much better. I mean,
it'd probably be really, really great.
I really like when I binged it. I went and binged. I think 1 through 5. Might have been 6. I might have been midway through 6.
Were they still on the farm or the prison? I can't remember.
The last
town.
They went to the Alexandria.
Okay.
That was the last episode I saw where they were in Alexandria, and there was a lot of like strife in the community because they were there. But I really enjoyed that ride for a good 5 seasons, 6 seasons.
Yeah, man, it was super solid. I still go back to season 1 as being an amazing season. The best
season 1 was great.
So good. But yeah, you're right. They really lost their way, and I don't blame anyone for leaving the show. But
the ratings have really gone down for them too.
They have. They really have. Man, the quality this year.
It's good. It's worth getting back into.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
I mean, I respect your opinion as a connoisseur of art.
Yeah, it's funny though. I'll still. So speaking of that, like you guys know, because I've said this in our little chat. Like I can't even tell you how many times I've watched Suicide Squad now at this point. Not because I like it, but because every time I watch it, I think like, how can I make this better? And then you get to a point about like 1/3 of the movie and you're like, there's no making this movie better. Like no amount of editing. Because in my brain, I'm like re-editing it. I'm like, I take this out. Maybe I can fix it. And then you get to a point where like, nope, this is unfixable. This movie is unfixable. It's the worst.
The fact that Will Smith's Deadshot has 3 separate intros for his character.
Oh my, dude.
What?
Why?
Why? Yeah.
And then also like how many times he says, I'm going to kill that guy and he doesn't kill anybody.
Right.
I'm going to kill that guy. He says it so many times. Like, that guy, I'm going to kill that guy. He doesn't kill him.
What do you think of, I mean, you mentioned you saw Shazam.
Oh,
you saw Aquaman too?
I haven't seen Aquaman.
Okay. And we'll not talk about Aquaman.
I haven't seen Aquaman, and I haven't seen the octopus playing the underwater drums yet.
You got Aquaman's worth a watch just for the octopus playing drums.
I love what our friend Erwin said about that on the chat. What
did he say?
He said that it's like James Wan felt like they don't know if they were going to get a second chance to make a sequel. So every frame was trying to be a home run. Just like,
Yes,
swing for the fences, man.
Absolutely.
Let's put dinosaurs in the middle of the earth. Why not?
There is dinosaurs.
There's
in the middle.
dinosaurs. I heard
it's
about
crazy.
that. Yeah.
What did you think of Shazam, though?
I loved Shazam.
Shazam was fantastic.
I loved it. You know what? Shazam felt like a callback to, like, it kind of felt like a callback to like 90s adventure movies to me in the best way possible. Like, what I mean by that is like Three Ninjas or, what is it? Sidekicks with Jonathan Brandis and Chuck Norris. It felt like a great, like, family friendly, you know, adventure thing. And what was really cool about it was like Zach Levi playing, what was he, a 14-year-old boy, 15?
14, 15, yeah.
14, 15-year-old boy is doing exactly what a 14-year-old, 15-year-old boy would do. Like, it's great. When I'm watching myself in that, I'm like, this is bringing me such joy right now. Like, because he is doing all the things that I would totally do, right?
Yeah.
And it was just a nice reprieve from all the dark that we've been getting from DC, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
It was just it was nice, man, you know, to get to walk away from that and have just a traditional, fully well thought out movie with a story and a good character and good acting, you know.
How did you feel in that moment when they all touch the stick and they all get the power?
That's another spoiler alert. Listen, guys, you're gonna come in here. It's your own fault. I'm telling you right now.
We said spoiler a while ago.
Oh, we said it a while ago. This whole thing is spoiler alerts.
Yeah.
It's all your fault. People.
It's if there's anyone to blame, it's me. So just blame
this is the nature. You can write it in the description. We will be spoiling the following things.
I will,
and that's on you.
I will record an intro where I tell people, "Hey, I'm spoiling a lot of things."
Yeah.
So.
And it's useless to put minute markers down because we just spoil a bunch of stuff.
Right.
Oh man, we got a pretty great response in our theater. Like, people clapped.
Same thing.
Part.
Same thing.
I wanted those powers, man. I was like, I had no idea. So my friend leaned over and he's like, I didn't know they were going to do this. So to be honest, I don't follow the story of Shazam. So I didn't know that Shazam had like a Shazam family.
The Marvel family, I guess.
The Marvel family,
Shazam.
It can't be like Captain Marvel because of the rights, right?
Right. I guess it's a Shazam family.
The Shazam family. But that was brilliant, man. I thought it was awesome. So awesome. And like, even fighting like the ghastly goons and stuff like that totally felt like a Three Ninjas thing to me. Like, you know, you know, light them up, boys, you know, that type of deal. But yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah. Oh, that was awesome.
The Asian guy going Hadouken.
That's, again, like, I clapped during that scene.
Oh, it's so good. I was
like, dude, that is, again, something I would totally love to do. You know, find out that you've got these powers. Why not? Say it.
Right.
You know,
and the message is so nice too. You know, the whole time it's be selfish, look out for number one, and then he realizes, hey, like, it's better to share the wealth with everybody. Yeah. Let's do this together. It's like, okay, let's try it.
Yeah, and that's what I meant. Like, it was interesting that the theme of this one, it was a hero's journey, but it was very family oriented. You know,
yeah, like, it was family oriented. It was about a kid learning to become a better person, through his family.
Yeah, man, like, seeing that movie and seeing how it played out, like, it just made me long for like well written DC characters. You know,
my gosh,
it's just like, I mean, aside from Wonder Woman, she's great. It was, you know,
Wonder Woman's good.
Wonder Woman's good. But yeah, this movie was so fun. I think it was a really great appetizer to clear the palate for Game of Thrones and Endgame.
Yeah, for sure.
Timing was like perfect.
Does Google have their own movie theater, or do you have to go to a regular movie theater?
Yeah, we have to go to a regular movie theater, but Google has a cinema club and they screen movies.
Really?
Yeah. So
like early?
Sometimes they'll invite speakers to come through and screen a movie, an early screener.
How do you get in that club?
So
are you in it?
Yeah. So you just sign up. There's like it's a group that you can sign up for. Like,
right.
I remember they screened 8th Grade when it was just about to come out. I still haven't seen it yet, to be honest with you. But they also have they'll show like the classics, right? They'll like set up a big screen out in like this like big park, and then they'll screen like Jurassic Park or something, right, for people. Yeah, but like this kind of links in with some of the superhero stuff. Like, I got to actually like see / kind of meet like Jeff Goldblum and like Ryan Reynolds and Olivia Munn, because they all came to talk. Came to talk at Google at the time.
What were they there for? Sorry,
they were talking. So Jeff Goldblum was talking about Independence Day of all movies. He was there
What
with
the hell?
he was there with Liam Hemsworth. And then we had who else come through? It was Olivia Munn was there for X-Men Snorpocalypse.
Oh, gosh.
And Ryan Reynolds was there for Deadpool 2.
Okay.
That dude's
okay.
hilarious in real
Is
life.
he in real life?
Yeah.
Just as funny?
Olivia Munn is stunning as well. Like, she's really pretty.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. And
Okay.
so, like, to have these two beautiful people up there, like in our Google office, like talking, it was just too much hotness up on stage.
I mean, you got a pretty sweet goatee. What do you call that? A goatee?
Yeah, it's like a beard stash goatee.
Beard stash. Yeah. I mean, you got.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well,
pretty
when I
beautiful
met,
as
I
well.
got to meet the guy who plays Glenn, right?
Yeah. Stephen Yoon.
Yeah, Stephen
Yeah.
Yoon. I got to meet him at one of the comic conventions out here in San Jose, Silicon Valley Comic Con. And I was like, I told him straight up, I'm like, because there's the photo line where you go up, and I'm like, hey man, I just want to say, thanks for representing strong Asian male characters on screen.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate that. He's like, yo, brother, thank you. He's like, I appreciate that strong Asian beard stash you got going. And I'm like, yeah, buddy. We broed out for a bit.
He's cool. I mean, I liked his character in Walking Dead for sure. He's definitely not your typical Asian. There's a lot of, I mean, I don't know if it's as much anymore, but there was a lot of rumors when he was still on Walking Dead that he would eventually get to play Nightwing in a movie. In a DC
That would
movie.
be dope.
That'd be cool.
Have you seen Batman Ninja yet?
Is it animated?
It's animated.
No, I haven't.
It's straight up anime.
Oh, okay. See, I'm not a big anime guy.
It is. Let me just tell you, it is wild. It has like every quintessential like anime thing in
Okay.
there. So if you're an anime fan, I think your mind's going to be like, wow, this is crazy. And then if you're not an anime fan, you're going to be like, yo, this is crazy. What is this?
Either way, it's gonna be crazy.
Either way, it's going to be crazy. But I watched it.
I'm looking at him now. He's dressed like a
Just like a
shogun?
samurai. Yeah,
A
shogun.
samurai, yeah.
And then the Joker is like a warlord. It involves time travel. It has
Okay.
all the characters
Just in feudal Japan.
in feudal Japan. And that's all Gorilla Grodd's fault. So
Huh.
it's entertaining, but it's really crazy. It's wild.
I might have to check that out. I mean,
I wish it wasn't dubbed in English, because the whole
it's in Spanish or Spanish, Japanese.
You know what? I wish it was. I wish it was in Japanese and not dubbed in English, because the whole
okay,
creative
got it.
team was all Japanese. Like, if you look at the credits, it's like a Japanese director, Japanese animators, like the whole 9 yards, right? So I just wish that like they left the Japanese voices intact, but they did not. The dub over is just whatevs.
Okay. Well, the thing about dub is I grew up watching
Dragon Ball
Godzilla.
Z dub.
Godzilla
Godzilla.
movies, which is the
yeah.
worst dub ever. So if I can watch those movies, I can watch any sort of dub.
Oh man, Godzilla though.
Speaking of the dubs, though, are you converted over to the dubs?
No way, dude. No way. Okay, let me tell you straight up. I'm never going to be a Warriors fan, okay?
Oh,
Because
wow.
I'm never, ever going to be a Warriors fan. Every, like, speaking engagement that I have, like, where I have a chance to have an audience, I say, listen, I'm born and raised in Chicago. I'm Chicago proud. We have our sports and we have our food. And we have, like, now, like, 8 months of winter for whatever reason. So we're very loyal to our teams. And, like, I can concede talent, but that does not mean I will be a fan of your team. It doesn't work that way. That's not how any of this works, right? It's like that commercial of those elderly women who are trying to figure out Facebook and they're putting like photos on the wall. She's like, I put a photo on the wall. And then the friend goes, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. So you've got these quote unquote sports fans who I think by nature of the type of jobs that are available in the Bay Area to, 20s to 30s, it brings in a lot of transplants.
Transplants, yes.
Right? And so transplant culture, you got people coming from all over the place. And then you've got, which means fair weather fans, right? So much so that the locals have to have these signs that say authentic fan.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, that's so stupid. The fact that you have to like prove that you're authentic, right? But people are like, why don't you become a Warriors fan? Like, Steve Kerr was a Bull. And I'm like, yeah, Steve Kerr was a Bull, but that doesn't mean that. I'm like, you can talk to me when y'all got 6 rings, or you can talk to me when, you've got like, what was it? A championship that also proves how many wins you got in the season. Look at you, Draymond. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that what sealed the deal for me is when Draymond ran his mouth and he said that they were the best team in history during their 73-9
yep.
win or streak, and then they lost the championship. Man, Mara and I went to this beach in San Francisco, Baker Beach, which is really close to where we're at. It's got this beautiful view of the Golden Gate Bridge. We went and we celebrated that they lost.
Wow.
Wore my Bulls gear. I went to one Warriors game and I wore a Bulls hat.
Wow.
Man, I'm raw like that, dude. Like, and I'll fight anyone that tells me that they're,
I've never understood the cheering for like changing allegiances. I
can't do it.
I grew up in Chicago. I don't know how I could be anything other than a Chicago sports fan. Like I don't get it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I would, even if I left, Blackhawks fan. I'm always going to be Bears fan. I'm always going to be, Cubs fan for me, because I grew up on the north side.
Same.
I'm always going to be a Bulls fan. And you can't change that. You can't change that about me. Like, I've had text threads with people who are my friends out here that just try to prove a point. And I'm like, you guys, like, you're not going to win a convert here. It's not going to happen.
What I've noticed too, especially in the NBA, is a lot of people root for the athlete. So they just follow the athlete wherever he goes, like LeBron. That's strange to me too. Like I can just respect LeBron's talent or Steph Curry, but wherever they go, I'm not rooting for them. If he comes to Chicago, I'll root for him.
Right.
But other than that, like I can't root for I can't be like I want that team to win. Now, if the Bulls are out, then of course I'll have my like preference, but I'm never going to change allegiance. That to me is a very might be like a millennial thing. And I guess I'm technically a millennial, but I'm on the older millennial
Same
spectrum.
thing for me. I'm like on the tail end. I think like I just don't want the Warriors to win again. Warriors fans are really obnoxious.
Boogie just tore his quad.
Ooh.
Yeah.
In the last game? I didn't even know the playoffs were happening.
He tore it in the last game. He tore it on a non-contact. They lost. They lost. The Warriors blew a 31-point lead to the Clippers, so it's 1-1.
Man, now I got to watch the highlights. All right.
Yeah, that was yesterday. Sorry, and Boogie tore his quad. I think he might be out for the playoffs, which might make it a little more interesting.
Yeah, it might.
Yeah. I mean, the Warriors are still the most talented team, but
yeah, I hear the Bucks are amazing.
The Bucks are really good. The Bucks are really good.
But by nature of so I think I'd go for the Bucks winning if that meant that they could beat the Warriors. But like just because of how close the Bucks are to Chicago, I'm like I don't really like the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean you can't really. It's not like a Green Bay thing for me. So like Milwaukee, like Green Bay, I could never root for. But Milwaukee, I'm like they don't get a lot.
They kind of get a pass. It's
they don't get a lot.
Green Bay, no way.
Here's a question for you, and I'm going to take this completely off topic.
Let's go.
So, only me and maybe you and the people that went to a specific church would know this. So I would describe you as a perfect me.
Oh, we're talking heart motives now. Okay.
But
who talked to you about this? Was it me or was it Rex?
It was Rex.
Ah,
it was
good
Rex.
Old Rex.
It was Rex. There's a few people that heard that I know about this, and they're like,
"Yeah,
Tony, you're going to use that for diabolical things." I'm like, "No, I won't." But what?
Right.
You're out in San Francisco. You're working for we're working for the man.
Mm.
What's keeping you motivated every day?
All right, so this is actually a solid question because give a little context of what you just kind of like
I talked about it.
Yeah, no, which was great because I kind of have a new framework of how like I kind of frame my mind around it.
Yeah.
So back in college in the church I attended, we had this way of understanding ourselves, and it was called heart motives. The underlying understanding being that we are all fashioned in a way that we are generally disposed to want something, whether that is order, respect, you want to be known, or you want to be deeply loved, right? Those were like four things, and they each had a name. And I think that was great because it helped us understand ourselves within a framework. It gave us an ability to look inward when in a culture where we don't often do that. I think people are afraid to look at themselves. And I think that's why I enjoy so much, like, even that last season of Daredevil, right? Where he was really wrestling with himself, right?
Oh, that's fantastic.
And it's just like, you see it in some of the most popular shows, even Punisher, when he's forced to reckon with himself, it's not a comfortable thing. No one wants to do that. But when you do that, you unlock and unleash parts of yourself that can be used for good, right? Redemption, if you will. And so the framework now that I'm working off of, like, that was a great base to start with because it gave me the tools I needed to like say like, oh, this was important, right? Now there's this thing. Have you heard of the Enneagram? Do you know what this is?
Would say that again?
Enneagram?
Enneagram. No, I've never heard of
Yeah. So some of your listeners might know this, and see, a lot of people reduce Enneagram to like a personality test, but it's not really a personality test in terms of like traits and how you do things. Those are part of it, but really what it is talking about, it's like about the essence of a person, similar to heart motive. But with Enneagram, there are 9, and it's like a wheel. Even if you Google it right now, you could see like the Enneagram wheel, right? Essentially, Enneagram is like, it's a tool for like excavating the essence of a person.
Okay.
It helps us take off our masks, and it allows us to be essentially like a little bit more honest in areas where we've kind of allowed bits and pieces or fragments to maybe those fragments are just a little bit of who we are.
Okay.
But what Enneagram does is it uncovers the essence of who you are, and as you're uncovering that, you can see like how this like permeates into your life, right?
Okay.
So like the idea here is there are 9 human archetypes for character structure, and there are 9 ways of us being in this world and how we interact with each other. And I think this has been one of the most helpful tools in work, because as you see your Enneagram and you can understand people around you, then you can see like how best to make a team, right?
Okay.
It's the same thing with like strengths-based leadership, or but there's like the DISC profile. Like,
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
note, I in my job, I'm in charge of hiring people under me, and I do use a DISC test.
Yeah.
Along with a motivators test as well.
Right.
So it's in combination.
So like, and there's the Myers-Briggs as well. And so all these indicators are great, but I think like, so there's this book that I've been reading through. It's called The Sacred Enneagram by Chris Hewertz. Last name is Heurtz, if anyone's interested in this book. But he really does a great job breaking down each Enneagram number. You can also go on the Enneagram Institute to take a test and this and that. But the test will only, it's free.
Oh,
the
wow.
test will yield, the test will yield a result for you, and you can, it'll show you what you kind of like identify towards, but that really doesn't really get confirmed until you talk with people who know you, right? People who know you and know what you would really do in a situation can confirm whether that's true or not. Because I think sometimes when we answer these test questions, we answer what we want to do.
We answer with the ideal self.
Yes, right. So like this list of 9 Enneagrams, essences, not personality traits, they each have a name. Like, for instance, like I'll tell you right now, like I'm a 4, which is on the list. It's called like the idealist, right? Also known as the dreamer. And so
is that the same as being individualistic romantic? Because I just have it up on Wikipedia.
The individualist romantic, exactly. Also known as the idealist or the dreamer.
Gotcha.
It's in this pocket of like, and then each Enneagram wheel, it's hard to describe without people like Googling it, but you could see like there's like a head center, a heart center, and a gut center. Like you think with your head, you're more logic. Heart is like your feelings, you're in your feelings, and then gut is like you just think on instinct, right? So like the number 1s, they usually they strive for principled excellence, right? As moral duty. A lot of these people can be self-prescribed perfectionists, and they really want order, right?
Yep.
2s, they strive for lavish love through self-sacrifice. So they're continually giving them themselves to receive love, right? 3s, they strive for appreciative recognition through, it's curated success. So success in certain areas will yield appreciation and recognition, and this is their driver. For 4s, people like me, and it totally makes sense, like people like me, we are all about authenticity, right? The idea of discovering who I am through faithful authenticity, right? And so, like, that's why, like, for instance, I don't like fake life and Instagram life.
Sure.
Like Instagram life can be fake life, but it's not real life, right? So if you are someone who follows me,
Instagram is basically all fake life.
Exactly. Yeah. But like, if you like follow someone like me in my like on my IG stories or whatever, like what you see is what you get. You know, you can almost hear my voice coming out like through whatever it is I'm posting, right? Like,
sure.
It is what it is. So I'm really about that authenticity and drilling that down. 5s these are the people that are seeking like constant, they love going to class, right? Like decisive clarity through thoughtful conclusions. Like they love learning. Sixes are all about security, right? Steady constancy. It is through confident loyalty. Be loyal to me in these situations will create security. That's what a 6 is like. A 7 is, this is the person that loves experiences, right? Imagine it like it's freedom through the freedom, through the independence that I have and that I experience. Like they love doing new things, right?
Sure.
8 is, and each of them have a name. And I think the most faithful named one is the number 8, which is the challenger, right?
Sure.
They have this intensity and they want like, don't tell me what to do. Unfettered autonomy is what they crave, right? And then like finally the number 9 is peacemaker. They desire peaceful, like harmony and peace, so that they can have rest, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean that they sow peace and they're like trying to like make people shake hands. It's just that they don't want strife. So I have friends who are like I can see them kind of like collapse into themselves, but not do anything about it. See, it's not a matter of like, oh, like I'm a peacemaker. I'm like more like a peace craver, right?
Right.
And so if anything shakes my world, it's like, like this is so frustrating for me. So these are, and then each of these, like,
this is rough. Yeah. I love this stuff. By the way, I'm the one that suggested at my job we do personality tests. I'm obsessed with this stuff. So I've already pulled up the fast, accurate Enneagram test, which I don't know if this is right or not.
Yeah.
It's an Enneagram test in less than 5 minutes.
And then see what it yields. And then you can take like the more robust ones, and then people can tell you, like, you can confirm or deny. Like,
when you're describing these and I'm looking at this, I'm going, I have a little bit of all these qualities. I don't know what I am right now.
So you can identify strongly with one the most, like one the most, and then you have what's called wings, right? So I'm a 4, wing 3, right? And then my wife is actually a 3, wing 4. So we completely understand what is the main driver for each of us, and also the main fear. And each of these comes with like an emotion as well, right?
Right.
A constant emotion. And so it's interesting because, like I said, like the tendency for people when they hear about this is like, oh, it's another personality test, whatever. But really, like I said, it's not that. It's the essence of who you are. Mm-hmm. And if you can figure this out, it's also a means to show you, like, oh man, this is actually areas where I haven't been truthful about how I've been in life, right? Mm-hmm. And then if you uncover that, then you can see, like, how can I be in my best version of this, right?
Sure.
And you can head towards that best version of you. And also, like, there are arrows on this Enneagram wheel that point to when you're doing poorly or when you're doing well, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, for instance, like on the Enneagram wheel, the 4, when I'm doing, when I'm not doing well, I am a 1. Or I'm sorry, when I'm not doing well, I'm a 2. Right?
Okay.
So that means, like, as someone who craves authenticity and is in his ideas and wants to thoughtfully express those ideas, when I'm not, like, at my best, what I'll do is I'll slink into the background and I'll just help. I'll be like, I'm happy to be your number 2. It reminds me of when I was freelancing and I couldn't land a job to save my life. I was happy to take a job as a coffee boy on productions. Mm-hmm. And I was really doing bad in that season, right? I didn't think that I had what it took to, I was trying to be a freelance filmmaker and I just didn't think I had what it took to express my ideas.
That's when you're settling, basically, right?
Yeah. So I started looking like this way that's not how I really am, right?
And it's not making you fulfilled.
No, and then no, not at all. And then when I am doing well, I also take on the characteristics of the number 1, which is that person that is very principled and is about order and bringing order into chaos and a little bit more perfectionistic, right? Like the perfect me and the motor thing that we were talking about. And I think that's why I identified with that idea of the perfectionist before. But really, it's not really about, necessarily telling people what to do. It's about the fact that, like, I have these thoughts and ideas. And that's why I genuinely love a podcast like this, because we can just talk, right? And we're just expressing thoughts and ideas.
I love it.
Communicating those things. And it means so much to me, right? To be able to do that. I find inherent meaning in this. And this is why my job is a storyteller, a visual storyteller. I'm so thankful that I have a job that actually works with my strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like, I think if people take the time to figure out this wheel, right? And figure out where they are, not only does it help you understand yourself, but it also helps you understand your interpersonal relationships as well. I know it's helped for my marriage, my friendships. I can't talk enough about it. So
I would love to. I mean, I'm probably going to end up taking it. I'm looking up the Enneagram. There's one testing that's a $12 code. I think that might be.
Yeah, is that on the Enneagram Institute?
The Enneagram Institute, yeah.
So yeah, that would be the official one. You should do it. If you love doing this stuff, you should do it.
I'm definitely going to do it. I mean, well, the thing is, so I took that DISC test, right?
Right.
And it's about your behaviors and then your motivators. And what I found out about my motivators is I am individually motivated. Like, I love to win. Not necessarily win in terms of, I'm going to cut the guy off in front of, like, I'm not that competitive, but right. I recognize the importance of standing out. I'm money motivated, so I recognize the importance of money. Mm-hmm. But the third thing on there that's one of my top 3 is I love to learn. Like, I love to learn. So that's a big catalyst for this podcast is I love doing the Jock and Nerd podcast. It's fun. It's a great time. It's fun to talk about comic book movies and TV and all that stuff, and just have opinions on things. But the essence of this is I'm talking to different people from different backgrounds that I've met through school, life, podcasting, and I'm just here to learn. I'm just here to have a conversation, and I think conversations are important in terms of learning about things because everyone has different everyone has different experiences. Everyone comes from different backgrounds. So if I can learn and have a great conversation with someone, then this is fantastic for me.
So
for
sure.
Which is a big reason I started this.
And that's why I think this spin-off podcast is so great because, what you're essentially doing is we're doing what people don't do enough of
they don't
this
do
day
this.
and age is they don't sit and talk, man.
No one's, when's the last time, I mean, maybe you do because you like to talk to people, but how often do people sit down for an hour to 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and have a one-on-one conversation?
It's true. I'm fortunate enough. Like I can say the closest, my closest compatriots and friends, those are the type of people that I have those kind of conversations with. We go for a long time and we suss it out, right? That's so cool.
I love this stuff. Like I wish I could there's the languages love test that I took as well.
Love languages. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that one's great. But I wish like everybody could take these tests because it would help. When I take these tests and when I give them to the people that I hire, I know so much more about them and how to manage them and how to deal with them. Like for me, more knowledge is always helpful.
Absolutely.
The more you can learn about someone or something, I mean, it's to your knowledge is definitely power.
No, I totally 100% agree. And I think that like, if you are a type of leader, which is great that you're doing this for your teams, because I feel like this is integral to understand how people are wired and how best to speak to them. Right. And how best to raise their strengths. Right. And that's the idea. Like this is kind of like my main, identifier as in terms of figuring out who I am. And then, you go along with the Myers-Briggs and strength-based leadership. And then I have a pretty round picture of how I am as a person. But like, I think that it's really important to not just like treat everyone the same.
No, that's
sense that, because they're not, everyone's wired differently.
Everyone's wired differently.
And I felt like this too, like with the book that I'm reading through, like the Sacred Enneagram, that speaks a lot to how Enneagram works with like your spiritual nature as well. Right. And, it talks about like how this would look like in relationship to God and others too, I thought that was really cool. Like in your investigative podcast journey, I really enjoyed and I'm sure you've heard this, but I really enjoyed your talk with TJ.
I've heard a lot of good feedback about that. Yeah.
What was really cool is one of the things that he said, and I ascribe to his method of faith is that like, listen, I'm not here to judge you. That's not my job. Right. My job is like TJ in the sense, like, cause I identify as a Christian as well. My job is to, live out the 2 greatest commandments, right? Which is love God above all and love others as you love yourself. That's it. And so, and like I always quote this too from The Matrix, in that sequence with Commander Locke and Morpheus, where Commander Locke is getting so upset at Morpheus for wanting like a ship to go check on Neo. Like Commander Locke is so frustrated. He says, "Damn it, Morpheus, not everyone believes what you believe." And then Morpheus responds, he says, "My beliefs do not require them to." Right? It's like, what I believe in doesn't require you to get on my level. That's not my job, right? Like TJ said, it's his job to just point, right? I can point you in that direction, right? By loving on people, and that's it. That's how I see faith life as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then with Enneagram, what this does is it helps me understand, like, how do I receive my relationship with God and with others,
Mm-hmm.
right? How is he speaking to me as a creator, right? Like as someone in a creative position. And if this is my essence, then what is he trying to say to me through this? Or how could I best be the best version of myself, or how I'm fashioned to be? It's pretty deep, and that's what I appreciate about it. Like I'm not one to be a surface level person, for one.
Mm-hmm.
I think if anything over the years I've desired to go deeper in and see, you know. So yeah. Just thought,
yeah. I'm fully on board on I've always been the type to want to figure out why. Like why is this person this way? Like let's not just take this at the surface level of, like, that's why when I have people that are like super strange or awkward or anything, I don't go, man, that guy's weird. I go, okay, well, what are the circumstances to lead to this person getting to this way in their life? Sure. You know, and then, okay, what are the best ways to now relate to this person so that we can communicate? You know, that's always been something like intrinsically in me, is finding out why. Right. And I mean, like you know, I'm not saying that's the best way to live, but it's the way I like to live.
Yeah, I think and that's the whole idea though, right? In order to really be able to understand a person's journey, you can't just brush them off and be like, they're strange, you know, or like, they're not like me. Right. The end. Right. Right. Guess what? Like, life's not like that. You're going to be around people. You know, there's going to be people in your team. There's going to be people in your church. There's going to be people everywhere that you're dealing with on the daily. And you can either just let it pass and it'll be a passing thing, or you can take the time to really understand them as people. And I choose the latter. You know, I do, because I think that's a better life to live, right? The
Enneagram is basically the next level. What was it? The language? No, it wasn't language.
The heart motive. Heart motive. Oh, yeah. It's you know, to quote, what is it? P. Diddy, 2 levels above you, baby. Love me, baby. I'm gonna make you love me, baby. Yeah, it's intense. It's great.
Have you ever done the languages of love test?
I have. Yeah.
Do you still remember what's important to you?
I do. So what's important to me are words of affirmation.
Just so that I have to love you?
Words of affirmation.
Was that right? Words of affirmation.
Yeah. So I like to receive words of affirmation. Mm-hmm. And then,
what was your last? Do you remember?
My which was that?
Which one was the least that you didn't really give?
It was a toss up between gifts and time, maybe.
Ah, okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
But words are what I like to receive. Mm-hmm. And then,
but then you give something different too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I give acts of service.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe I learned that from my dad. Like I always saw my dad around the house growing up, like cleaning or cooking or like doing something, like working in the garden, doing stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And he's far better with his hands than I ever will be. He's got like the greenest of green thumbs, and he's just this brilliant engineer. But in the same way, like I've taken on those traits around the house. You know, like I'll do stuff around the house, try to be a handyman, try to do this and that. From like, make sure like my wife has a full gas tank if she's gonna take out the car. You know, all these like really small things. But what's interesting though is like I got to remember that like she wants quality time, right? Not just my acts of service, right? Mm-hmm. And she also has to remember that. Like it's acts of, and then it's like words or like touch, you know, that too, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like she has to remember that like words are not lost on me, and you can't just like say flippant things because the words will matter.
That's so important.
Yeah. How about, what was it for you? What was your least in your? What would you like to receive, and what was the one you like to give to show your love?
So I'm still trying to figure out what I like to give. I haven't found a test. I need to find the test that measures that. Okay. Because the one I took from, it was like languagesoflove.com or 5 languages of love. So the one that I like to receive the most, and it was pretty high, was quality time. I'm all about undivided attention. Like if you're with me, like if I'm hanging out with you one-on-one and you pull out your phone, I almost always will say something. Unless you apologize right off the bat and go, hey, I have to check this. But if I go, if you pull out your phone, I'll be like, come on, man. Put your phone away.
Come on, man, we're together. Yeah.
We're hanging out. Like this is me and you.
We out here.
Right. And if you ever like postpone on me or, just what's the word that when people just don't show up?
Is it ghost?
Here. Ghost me. Yeah. If you ever ghost me, oh man, I'm going to kill you. So yeah, that's always like, I'm a big time quality time.
My that's what you like to receive.
Yeah, that's what I like to see. My least was physical touch.
Okay.
So, like holding hands, like that's. So I always get criticized whenever I've been dating girls that I don't show enough affection.
Yeah.
Physically, because I'm not big on. I don't see the importance of like holding hands or hugging in public or like I'm just like you're with me and you have to have the confidence to be with me and not know. I don't have to show you that I'm always with you.
And then so in terms of giving though, that's the one thing that you're not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I like to give. I like to give gifts. Like I'm big on being there for people's birthdays or being there for like like anything where I need to
Showing
be there.
Up. Yeah, you like to give time too, man.
That might be it too. I might be just a quality
they don't have
time
to be
person.
Different. It could just be time.
Yeah,
you know?
It might just be time because like any birthdays that happen, any anniversaries, like if I have work, I'll show up like because I work late into the night, so I work 10 and 11 o'clock at night. I'll still show up after. Like I'm always there, even if I have work the next day. Man. That's my. I think it might be quality time as well, but I'm not 100% sure. We're 100% sure on that.
I think the biggest indicator isn't necessarily like taking a test for it, but it's like it is essentially, getting feedback from friends.
Yeah,
asking, like, hey man.
The thing is too. So on my disc test, so my highest is being steady. Like I'm very consistent, but my influencing, which is my emotion, and my compliance, which is my logical side, are basically identical. So, which means there are times when I can be really, really like rational, and there's some times where I can be really, really romantic. Like I have this push-pull every day of like, should you be logical or should you just go with your gut? Like every day, I could see the reasons why I could do either.
Well, again, if I'm looking at the Enneagram wheel here, like because if you're a 5, you're still in the heart emotion sector. And then, but then, like when you go up to like the whole challenger section, when like you get competitive and stuff, that's in the gut side, right? And 7 is also gut, so you're like a gut heart person potentially. Who knows?
I don't know. I have to take the test, but I know that my behaviorally I can be very logical and very emotional at any time. Like either one is a factor for me, and both of those things being even, along with my steadiness being my highest, means that at least from the guy that talked to me about the disc test, he goes, people will just like you and they won't know why they like you, but you just come off as likable every time to someone. People will meet you right away and go, oh, I kind of like that guy. I don't know why, but I kind of like him. Like there's just a good feeling around because I can understand you being emotional, but I can also understand your logical side as well.
Do you know your Myers-Briggs as well? I
do not.
Yeah.
I got to do that too.
That's a good tool to know as well. I think it's all good, to be honest with you. Like I'm one of those I'm one of those people that's not like, oh, Enneagram only. Oh, strength, sense, leadership only love language. Like that's it. Like I like knowing because these are tools. They're all just tools, right? But it just so happens that like the best tool that I found at this point in time for me to be able to speak about it is the Enneagram. And also in combination with my Myers-Briggs, right? So like we're talking about like feelings or thinking. So like I'm actually like super double feelings. Like I'm like in my feelings, right? Like Drake. So because like 4 falls under the feelings side of the Enneagram, but then my Myers-Briggs, for those of you out there, if you're interested, I'm an ENFP.
Okay.
So E is like extroversion, N is intuition, F is feeling, and P is perception. So there's that feeling, right? Feeling side. I feel so deeply, like, and I think that's why I know that I'm going to have all the feels during Endgame. Like it's going to wreck me. But the feels go so deep, the more I'm invested in something, right? But man,
here's something funny.
Yeah, go for it.
So in this episode of Game of Thrones, and it might just because I'm coming off the emotional high of being at Coachella, and now it's done. That weekend's over. I'm not with my friends anymore. I'm back in the real world. But that first scene where Jon sees Arya, or was it that Jon sees Arya? No. Jon comes in. First. Bran. He hugs Bran. Oh, man. Dude, he hugs Bran, and I'm like, oh my god, I think I'm tearing up. I'm like, and I say out loud, it's been so long since they've seen each other,
dude.
I was like, oh my god, what's going on here?
No, you're not the only. I said that out loud too, man. I was like, yo.
I was getting so sad. Good. I was like getting sad. I was like, but I was like sad, like happy sad. And I was like, but why am I getting that way? I'm like, but it's been so long. You're supposed to feel this way.
Yeah.
It's a reunion.
He kissed him on the head, like when he kissed him on the way out too.
Do you remember? Does he know that Bran is now?
No, he doesn't know that Bran's Bran bought 9,000.
Okay, so he's just seeing Bran.
He just thinks he's seeing his grown up brother, and then that's why he gives him that look at the end, like what? Like, what happened to you, man?
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a feels person, I think, as well.
Yeah, I think if you can figure that out on your Myers-Briggs, and you can see like I said, like for me, there's the side that is like intuition as well. But I mean, like not to say that I don't think with my head, but like I really do like I think with like my heart. That's why I think I identify with like a lot of the heroic characters that will just go for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that is something that really resonates with me. I think that's why I love Cap so much. You know?
Yeah. See, here's the thing. Like, here's the thing. So I told you I'm logical and emotional. Mm-hmm. I battle every day with who I think I like better, Cap or Iron Man. Because some days I'm like, I see what Iron Man is, the rationalist. It is pragmatic with this guy. This is the problem. Right. This is the solution. These are the steps to do it. And then Cap is like, this is the problem. Let's get it done and let's get after this right now. Let's not think about any plans. Let's just go and do this. Like
so you might have an Enneagram that is in the feelings side, and then your Myers-Briggs might have, because the opposite of feeling in the Myers-Briggs, F is T, right? Thinking, right? Yeah, so you can do both, right? Like, and that's what I mean. Like, you're not one and then not the other. You can actually have both, right?
Sure.
I think for Mara, she is definitely someone that would identify more with Tony for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because even though she's in the feelings sector for her Enneagram, she is ESTJ. T is thinking, so she's super rational, very like pragmatic, like very calculating. I think the character she identifies most with on Game of Thrones, okay, I'll say redeemed and unredeemed, in the sense like the redeemed is like the good side character of things, and then unredeemed is like terrible person. Arya is the person she identifies with the most, like in the sense that like no one sees what's coming in this small person. She's super strong and no one gives her a chance, but is very calculating and strategic. But then unredeemed, because the nature is completely unleashed, is Cersei. That in the sense that
she is the thinking planner to the T.
Yes, if there's someone out there that is the thinking like brain in all of Westeros, it's Cersei Lannister.
Well,
right?
I mean, she is. Again, people hate on her character, you know, and rightfully so. She's done some despicable things.
Yes.
But you got to think about, okay, this is kind of, you know, back in the day stuff. As a woman back in the day, the only way to get to the point where she's gotten is what she's had to do.
Right.
Because women are so disrespected in that era that the only way to get to a point where she can protect her family and get the power to protect her family is to do the things she's done. Right. So she's been extremely calculating, but also very strategic because she wants to protect her family, and she's gotten this far. Like, you have to commend her character for that.
Exactly. In a way, what she's done is completely commendable. Right.
These are the things she had to do. These things,
but then wildly awful.
Right.
You know? But that's what I mean. Like,
but her main goal was to protect her family. Like, that's what she wants, and she wants to keep the name going.
We always joke about it, man. Like, the character I identify with is dead. It's like Ned Stark.
Right.
I'm like, I died already. I'm dead. I'm not even in this game anymore right now. Like, you might last longer because your Myers-Briggs might have a thinking side, but like, I'm dead. I'm like all feels, man. Like, let's do the right thing. And then he's dead.
Right.
Yeah.
What? Here, I got one more question for you.
For sure, man.
I watch these videos by Wisecrack, which TJ Johnson.
You mentioned that in your
TJ Johnson recommended this to me.
I wrote that down as something I should check out, but I didn't check it out yet.
So one of the big themes of Infinity War is this idea of killing one to save a million. You know, like Cap is like we don't trade lives. We don't trade lives. We don't trade lives. Whereas there's some other characters that, you know, even, and Thanos especially is the dichotomy to that. He is more than willing to kill millions of people, billions,
Yeah.
to save lives because he's doing it. So it's the idea of utilitarian consequentialism. I didn't make this. I didn't know these terms until I watched this video. Utilitarian consequentialism versus deontology. Utilitarian consequentialism is basically kill one to save 1,000. You can do something heinous as long as it's for the greater good, whereas deontology is you can never do anything that would put your soul in a bad, dark place, where you can never do anything heinous. Even if the consequences might be good, you're still doing something heinous.
Yeah.
Where would you fall on that? Because that's what these deontology for sure.
I can say.
Well, yeah, I mean, as a Christian person, right?
Well, yeah, and then the core of who I am. That's just the idea that I resonate with the most. You know, like I see the logic. Like the compelling thing about Thanos as a character and Killmonger as a character, arguably like two of the best written Marvel characters, that they make sense. You know, like what they're saying makes absolute sense. But then there's just that thing that says like, that's just wrong though.
Right.
You know, like what you're doing is wrong, but I see why you would do it. And it makes 100% sense, but that's not the way to go about it, right? There's got to be another way. And then sometimes there's no other way, right? But then should it happen at all? That's the question, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's wow. That's actually a solid breakdown. I think that what is there a phrase for the opposite? Like the idea of like, because the way I'm seeing it is in the negative sense, like killing 1,000 to save.
So yeah, utilitarian consequentialism is basically, yes, you know, it's the runaway train idea of, okay, there's a runaway train, you have two paths. One will kill one person. One will kill one person, and one will kill 10. You know.
Do you watch The Good Place at all?
No, I don't.
That's where I heard this from. There's this sequence. The Good Place is a really great. Like, okay, if you're into like character study, The Good Place is a sitcom on NBC, right? And it's written by. Did you ever watch The Office at all?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Do you remember Dwight's cousin Mose on the farm? Like he had that cousin with a beard.
Yeah.
So he was one of the writers on The Office, but he's the one that wrote this show. And the whole premise behind the show is that this woman, she wakes up in what we presume is heaven, right?
Okay.
She's dead, and this is the afterlife. And so how people got there was like their good deeds weighed out their bad deeds, and now they're there. But you find out within the first 5 minutes, this is not spoiling anything, that she's in the wrong place. She shouldn't be in the good place. She should be in the bad place. So she got here somehow by accident. And so that's what the whole show is about. It's this comedy of like, why is she in the afterlife in the good place? And she has to figure out how to navigate like moralism, decision making, like this utilitarian. Say it again. Consequentialism. Yeah. This actually played out in an episode where they actually had a physical train and they had to choose. They're like, all right, choose. Who are you going to run over?
Right.
Like this, save the one person by killing all these people, or the other opposite to be true. You know? So I think this is a show. If you're knowing what you shared about like how you think about people, this is a deep show, man. Like it's comedy, but like it really delves in deep. It's awesome.
Well, let me read I have to read the trolley debate so that I get it correctly.
Yeah.
There's a runaway train speeding towards 5 people, or it could be 100, who are tied to a track. If you pull the lever, the trolley is diverted and you kill one person instead of 5.
Right.
That's the debate. No, I love this stuff, especially like, again, mentioned, I'm very logical, but I'm also very emotional. So I'm like, I can see the benefit to both. Do you ever read comics?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I was
a 90s comics kid. I got into some graphic novels though recently. So
what I would recommend is Jonathan Hickman's run on New Avengers, and then it dives into Secret Wars and all these other things. But his run, it was probably released 4 or 5 years ago. It's the best run I've ever read in comics.
Is there a trade paperback version of it?
I think there is a trade. Just look up Jonathan Hickman New Avengers or whatever. But it's basically the storyline is in Marvel there's this thing called the Illuminati. Mm-hmm. Everyone's heard of the Illuminati, but in this one it's Black Panther, Black Bolt, Doctor Strange, Reed Richards, Iron Man, Cap, and like Beast and Namor, like all these different people that represent different factions in the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
and they run into this situation where they have to come back together. So they're the Illuminati is like running the world in secret, and they have to come back together because apparently Earth is the focal point for these collisions happening between universes. So Earth, our Earth, and then Earth from a separate universe are on a collision course. And this keeps happening over and over and over. And every time this happens, they're put in a position where they have to decide if both Earths collide, both universes go away. But if they're able to put a bomb on the other Earth, they can destroy that Earth and save both universes.
Oh, man.
So they're always having to go to the other Earth and then deal with their counterparts on the other side and look them in the eye and go, I'm going to have to kill you.
Wow.
And there's different people, for instance, not to spoil anything too much, but Cap is totally against doing any of this. He's like, we need to find a different fucking solution.
Yeah.
Where Iron Man's like, this is the most rational thing we have to do. It's such a good story. Because it puts... It puts the strongest characters in the Marvel Universe, or the smartest ones in the Marvel Universe, in a situation where they can't punch their way out of the situation.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
And that's some good writing right there.
Yeah, I always love that stuff.
Wow.
Where it's not just and I hope, I think Avengers Infinity War, or not Infinity War, in Endgame, I think they might put them in a situation where it's not, I saw a prediction on Wisecrack where it's they're definitely going to fight a lot.
Yeah.
But they might put them in a situation where they're going to have to appeal to Thanos' other side, or choose, or something, yeah. Where it's not just a punch fest, it is, okay, let's choose. Something has to happen here.
I'm not ready, Tony. I'm not ready, man.
I'm not ready either, man.
Let me sit in my feelings.
Awesome,
That's
man.
awesome.
Well,
I'm going to check that out for sure.
Definitely should, and I think we can stop it here because we've been going for a little bit.
For sure, man. Yeah.
But hey, is there anything you want to? I always end this with: is there anything you want to plug for anybody?
What do I want to plug right now?
And if it's nothing, that's cool too.
Yeah, actually, I have. Let me see. I will plug for those people who are looking to get into. I have one more Enneagram plug, I guess I could do.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. 1 second here.
Oh, no problem.
It's a great conversation, Tony. I really appreciated this, man.
Oh,
it's awesome, dude.
I love doing these, man. Every one of these has been really fulfilling, and I've been wanting to do one with you. So
what's really cool too is just hearing where everyone's at and the topics that get brought up. It's pretty
have you listened to other ones?
Well, yeah. So TJ was the main one. And then I listened to. There's another dude that you interviewed.
What was the subject matter? Again, these all go all over the place. So,
oh gosh, everything's blurring together right now.
I put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right, here. So here's what I can share. Yeah, I got this now. Okay. So, wait a minute. Did I pull it up right? Okay. Yeah. So, okay, I got it now. All right. So, I know we've been talking a lot about Enneagram. So, like I mentioned, the book, it's called The Sacred Enneagram by Chris Hewerts. And then there's another book called The Road Back to You, which is another Enneagram book. And then Enneagram Institute also puts out their own book. So the two books that I mentioned are definitely the first two, The Sacred Enneagram and The Road Back to You, have definitely a spiritual or Christian spin to them. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking to dive into that, it's actually really great because Enneagram, it talks about the essence of a person, but the other two also bring in spirituality, which I think is important for a lot of people out there. But what really made Enneagram click for me, and this is a total 4 thing, because 4 is we all strive for individuality and wanting to be different. It was funny because I was driving through. I was riding one of those Google bikes, because we have these Google bikes that we can ride around campus that are free, and we just find one, pick it up, and then we just ride it to the next destination or to a meeting. And I saw 4 Teslas in a row that were charging. And immediately the thought in my brain was, man, I'm never going to get a Tesla. I don't want that car, because it was everyone's got the same car, and I don't want to be that way because I'm an individual, man. Mm-hmm. But what really sealed the deal for me for Enneagram is for people who like music and who are artists out there. There's this Chicago-based music artist. His name is Ryan O'Neal, and he goes by the name Sleeping at Last, right? So his music is kind of on the indie, ethereal, maybe Bon Iver kind of camp. He's a Christian, but not a Christian recording artist. There's a difference, right? Because he doesn't produce Christian music. He's a Christian that produces music.
He's just Christian, yes.
Yeah. And some of his lyrics have Christian support system and belief in there. So they come out. But this personal project that he's been working on is called the Atlas Project. And so the Atlas Project was creating music about the human experience. And so he's been on Atlas. The first one was about like space and science and creation, really wild stuff. But the second year, it's called Atlas Year 2, and his focus is on, wait for it, the Enneagram. Wow. This dude is writing a song for every Enneagram number.
Oh, wow.
And in each podcast, he has Chris Hewerts on his show to break down each Enneagram number. Mm-hmm. So Chris Hewerts does an awesome job breaking down every Enneagram number and showing like what is the driver, where they're at with distress. And then at the end, like how can they best, how can they best live in their Enneagram number, right? Mm-hmm. And so they break down not only what that Enneagram number is like, but also the song, right? Because each song about each number is really good because it just kind of speaks to the people who identify with that number.
Oh yeah, they can identify with it.
Yeah. And so it's so good.
That's very clever.
Yeah, and so Ryan's aim as an artist is that the tendency with Enneagram is that we can get a little down about it because it's true. Like it's there's a true side to like all these ways that we've been selfish or blind in our lives. Mm-hmm. But what he wants to do is he wants to paint a picture of like where we can go, right? So there's an inherent feeling of hope in it. I just re-listened to Enneagram number 1 starting from the beginning, and what he did with it was he has these rules, right? Like for instance, like I said with Enneagram, like the number 1 is about bringing order out of chaos or striving for principles, right? And doing the right thing and being a little perfectionistic. So the song itself, he wrote it in 120 beats per minute, 120 BPM. Mm-hmm. The reason he did that was because every editing software that he's ever used defaults to 120 BPM, which is also the exact timing of a clock. Tick, 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 right? Yeah. So he's like order, right? And then all the people that he has help him out, whether it's like strings or whomever, these are people that identify as that particular number. So all the people involved in Enneagram number 1, guess what? They're ones, right? Mm-hmm. And so like, that's what's really cool about it. And he just really like delves deep into
I was going to say that's very deep.
It's awesome. And this really spoke to me because like once I figured out who I was, which is a 4, and who my wife was, a 3, like when I was listening to the 3, like it really, something clicked. And it clicked because it's like, I'm understanding someone who's close to me, right? Mm-hmm. In a way that I don't think I've ever understood them before through art, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's such a beautiful thing, right? When you can create something that has meaning and that can speak to people's lives, whether that's Game of Thrones, Avengers, this podcast, the Enneagram song podcast, whatever it is, like I feel like when you're in that pocket and you're doing that thing, like there's so much value there, right?
Completely
so
agree.
I don't know, man. I just want to encourage you because I think this is a great, like, I want to encourage everyone to maybe get into this Enneagram stuff, but like also encourage you to keep going with this because this is like I said, we don't do this often. We don't do this enough to create an avenue and space for people to be able to talk and share. And so it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful what you're doing.
Yeah,
so,
I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah, dude.
I really appreciate that. And I definitely will, the conversation doesn't end here. We can always talk again, and
we'll talk. Yeah, dude, we'll talk again when you let me know your Enneagram numbers too.
I'll let you know my Enneagram numbers for sure. But I'll definitely, once I cycle through everybody, we can always come back on and talk again on the show as well. Awesome, man.